Okay, hello everyone. V was just informing us that people in Romania know exactly how to burglarize a house, whereas the poor in Britain have no idea. And he's thinking about coming over here and teaching them how to do it. Isn't that right, V?
Yeah, I mean, see, I had a few friends who went to Britain and told me how things are there and why they don't understand the whole multiculturalism thing. It's like why British people are more scared of Muslims rather than Romanians, because Muslims, like, they stick to their own neighborhoods, they put Sharia law, and of course, they're a bit annoying. But Romanians actually burglarize shit. Like, they break into people's homes and stuff. And there was this recent incident where there was this old veteran who was being commended by the Queen for his acts during the war, and he got some medals and whatnot. And the Romanians broke into his house and hospitalized the guy, right?
Right.
So basically, people are outraged now. It's like, what is this? What is this sorcery? Like, people can break into other people's homes. And asking Sargon a few legitimate questions, like, do the people who live at ground floor put bars in their windows?
The answer is no.
Yeah, and this allows for a lot of opportunity. I mean, if I would go to Britain, I wouldn't rob shit myself, because that would enforce the stereotype. But I would find, like, the poor people living in Britain, the hoodlums, the people in gangs and shit, and I'd be like, mate, did you ever thought about breaking in a house? Do you not think it's a lot more profitable to go into someone's home, rather than do, like, the petty crime that you're doing, like the mugging and the thieving? And come on, step up your game.
Of course, you do it during the day, don't you?
Yeah, because this is what I had in your cyberpunk thing. I was talking with Scrump, and he was like, oh, you should do it during the middle of the night. No. During the middle of the night, the streets are empty. The police response is quite fast. If you do it during the middle of the day, the streets are crowded. You have the rush hour. Now, sure, the police does move away when the car with the siren comes, but they can't drive as fast as they do during the night where the roads are empty.
Yeah. So if you can carry out a robbery or some sort of burglary, you do it in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah. You find a secluded place where people are gone to work. There aren't a lot of people at home. Like, first you target the place, you scope up the place, you see when the people go to work, and then you do it during the middle of the day.
There we go. And that's a fantastic lesson on gypsy morality. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
To be fair, most people, if you do it and you are acting like you're owning the place, most people find it so shocking that you do it during the middle of the day that they will not believe you're actually there to rob the place.
That's true. You can be a confidence trickster as well.
You can roll for persuasion.
Basically. And people in Britain, they unbelievably don't have bars on their ground floor windows. It's crazy.
I can't believe
that. They want to be robbed, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, I also understand a lot of British people, like, don't have a lot of valuables in their house. Like, they keep it in the banks with the Jews. So you don't get to have, like, a British house with a lot of paintings, expensive paintings, or valuable things that you could nick. See, I even know the language. But they have things like the computer, which is, like, the most valuable things that you could steal from a house.
But that is, and TVs and things like that, yeah.
Yeah, like, if I would break into your house, what would be the most expensive thing I could steal?
I don't actually know, to be honest. I'm not really a sort of possessions kind of guy.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with you people. Like, honestly, you don't really allow for entrepreneurship to grow.
We're not really avaricious enough. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, the criminal element is having a hard time prospering in Britain because of this.
Hashtag won't someone think of the criminals?
Yeah.
Yeah. If only the Romanians had the opportunity to steal something nice from our houses.
No, see, this is the problem. You're making us look bad. Because I would understand if I would see here in Romania and it's like, this guy broke into this British person's home and stole £1 million. I'd be like, wow, way to go, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, what a hero.
Yeah. They're
true national hero of Romania.
They're breaking into people's homes and realizing that there's nothing to steal. I mean, can you understand the
I can empathize with the disappointment the Romanian burglar must feel.
Mate, burglarizing takes work, okay? It takes planning, It takes, you like risk assessment and all of that. And when you're finally inside, you realize that there's nothing. It's like, getting in bed with a hot woman and realizing her vagina is really loose. Pretty much.
That's a tremendous disappointment. I'm so sorry for the Romanians. I really am.
You should be. Honestly, you should have laws that every British person should have like at least 2 valuable paintings in their house.
So do Romanians like robbing the Jews or something, stealing their gold?
Well, no, but
you don't have Jews in Romania, do you?
Well, the Holocaust kind of put a dent into the Jewish population.
Well, you say that, but there are Jews in Germany, so...
Yeah, but see, Germany is actually a nice place to live in.
Is it?
No, well, it was until 2 years ago.
I lived out in Germany for about 8 years in total. I had a wonderful time out there.
No, I understand that it is. I mean, the people who went there actually did tell me that it's a really nice place to live in.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the things on that's happened in the last couple of weeks that I haven't had time to cover in This Week in Stupid. So let's start with something that's probably just silly.
Okay.
You see that?
Killer clown craze now in Sweden as teen stabbed by masked assailant.
Yeah. What do you reckon to this whole clown thing that people have been doing?
Well, first of all, we're going to assume that it has nothing to do with Islam.
Well, of course.
Of course. Yeah, I'm kind of weirded out that it didn't happen earlier because you do have the criminals that are taking the pop culture elements and trying to reproduce. So,
yeah.
But now people are going to be validated in their clown phobia. You know, it's like women wearing a burqa.
Well, there was a shop that removed all of the clown costumes they sold because of this sort of thing happening, and it's like, okay, you know, it's an interesting sort of pop culture meme, but I mean, obviously, someone stabbing someone over this, well, not over it, but you know, dressing up as a clown and going and stabbing someone. It's hardly where you want to see this go, is it? But,
I think that if someone takes the extra time to grab a knife and stab someone to death, he might take the extra time to design his own clown costume.
Really? You think he had a custom clown costume?
No, I'm saying if all of them are banned and you can't purchase a legitimate clown costume, you can create one yourself. I mean, it's not that difficult.
Right. Okay. All right then. Well, let's go on to the next thing. So, a New York pharmacy pushes for gender equality by charging a 7% man tax. Have you seen this?
How are they going to stay in business?
Well, that's a very good question. But I mean, there are a lot of angles to this. But yeah, so over the past few years, there's been increasing movement to do away with the tampon tax and other taxes that activists say put an undue burden on women. For example, in many states, menstrual products are taxed as luxury items. Now, that is actually something I
that is a legitimate concern. Yeah.
It's
like, well, to be fair, it is a luxurious item. Like, if you want, you can put cotton like in the good old days.
Yeah, okay. Look, outside of Romania, these aren't really luxury items.
My grandma used to put cotton there, so if you want to have this tampon, then it's a luxurious tax. No, this is how it actually became a luxurious tax.
I'm sure that's true, like, 100 years ago, whenever this was.
Yeah. No, but honestly, this is how it became a luxurious tax, and I think this is why it still is, because they haven't changed the legislation. You did have, like, poor women putting cotton, right?
Yeah. But then this is obviously something that needs to be updated.
Yeah, basically. It's not done out of sexism or whatnot. It's simply because there were two different products at a time. One was more expensive and one wasn't. So they consider that, rich the peasants are going to use the cotton.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it was a lot more expensive to produce the tampon. Now, being industrialized and being produced en masse, there is no more need to have a luxurious tax.
No, it's obviously a holdover from an older era. But what I love about this pharmacy is that they've decided that the gap between men and women is only 7% now. It's not like 23% or whatever they normally say it is. And I love this. Now, one Manhattan pharmacy is trying to solve that gap with a 7% tax. How does that solve any kind of gap? That doesn't change the amount women earn, and it just means that men aren't going to shop at your fucking pharmacy, you morons.
No. See, you don't understand how this works. What it does, it raises the issue. It signal boosts. And by signal boosting...
Virtue signal boosts, yes.
Yes, you will go home, you will open the Google, and you will educate yourself upon the issues that women are facing in day-to-day society.
Yeah, and literally, like owner Jolie Aloni told the Daily Dots, you put the site today and it's already got a lot of reaction. Well, there is something about open discrimination and bigotry that does elicit a reaction.
Really,
I mean,
people don't like that?
No, yeah, there's something about it that really rubs people up the wrong way, isn't there? But,
I just don't understand. I thought British people were on board with racism.
oh, this is in America.
Oh, in America.
Yeah.
Oh.
But either way, still, I can see why people are like, well, that's not equal, is it? I mean, this is just naked discrimination based on total horseshit. But yeah, so we thought it'd be a great idea with all the political things going on. Yeah, fucking brilliant. We thought damaging our sales would be a great idea. Yeah, with Clinton being such a woman and the other guy in his womanizing. What a terrible man. Citing the pink tax, she said, "We wanted to share that women deserve to get a break and men deserve to be charged 7% more." I love it, right? I love this, right? Women choose to work less hours in less dangerous and well-paid jobs and eventually earn less money. These are the result of women's life choices. But now men deserve to be charged more money because they made different life choices.
Do you know what the pink tax is, by the way?
Total horseshit, yeah.
Yeah, no, but like what they...
Yeah, women's products, certain women's products cost more, like razors.
Yeah. Do you know what that is? Because
they can. Because they fucking can. Because women will pay it.
No. Because it's not the same product. That's the thing.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. Like, mate, get your razor and ask your wife to shave with it. Like, she will literally start to bleed.
My what?
I'm not kidding. Like, the razors for men...
I'm not kidding.
The skin for men is
when
completely...
was the last time you think I owned a razor?
Oh, yeah. Right.
Sorry, go on.
No, but the thing is...
The razors are actually different, aren't they?
Yeah, the skin for men is different than the one for women. Different collagen, different layers.
Men's skin's thicker and tougher, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So you need a more sharper and stronger blade in order to deal with the stronger and thicker skin. If you would take a blade for men and use it on women, they would literally bleed to death.
Okay, I don't think they're going to bleed to death, are they?
Well, if they cut their arms, they might.
Well, okay, yeah. If they cut some vital artery, then yeah, okay, maybe.
Let me exaggerate a bit. I'm doing it for the audience, right? So it's not the same product. That's what I'm saying. And it's the same for shampoo. It's the same for detergent, for soap, for whatever. All these things that have men and women in it. It's not the same product. That's the bottom line.
That's true. That is true. But I mean, even then, right? If it was something that bothered you as a woman, why wouldn't you just buy the man's version? I mean, apart from the fact that you'd use it and go, well, okay, I don't actually like how this product works. If this was something that really bothered you, just buy the male version, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but the thing is, as I told you, if they use the male version, they get displeased when they start bleeding out. Yeah.
And the thing that I find amusing about it is that I think that if it was the other way around, men would just buy pink razors. If the pink razors...
Well, you wouldn't buy pink razors, because the thing is, if you actually go out and you buy a pink razor, you will notice that it doesn't cut for shit.
Yeah, but if it was cheaper, I think people would still do it, even if it wasn't as good.
Mate, I honestly think you would pay the extra buck just because your skin would be irritated. You'd have to, like, go over the same area 10 or 20 times just to be able to shave a single strand of hair. I'm not kidding. The difference is quite colossal, at least when it comes to shaving instruments. Okay, any women in the chat, any women out there, please tell me if you ever tried to shave with a man razor and what were the results.
Okay, well, I look forward to finding that
out. So yeah, this whole pink tax is different, not because it's the same product, because it's not. It's a lot more different to create a shaving instrument for women. I mean, why do I know so much about women products? There you go.
That is a good question, but I just hate the fact that it's just this kind of open fucking discrimination that they're just fine with. But I mean, maybe they could argue that they're libertarians and the government shouldn't be allowed to decide who they can discriminate against and let the free market decide. I mean, I wouldn't shop at somewhere that had a man tax on it.
You know what I would do? I would ask a woman to purchase things for me, and then I'll work the system, and then I go in and say, "Ha! I purchased this from you, and there's jack shit you can do about it."
So what you're saying is there are men outside trying to persuade women to buy things from the shop for them?
Man, that actually happened in communist Romania. I'm not kidding. We had these shops that would sell Coca-Cola and other Western products. but they were only meant for the foreigners visiting Romania, right? They didn't sell in the Romanian currency, so you couldn't buy it. So Romanians found a loophole in the system, and they actually asked foreigners to buy shit for them.
Well, I guess it's kind of like this guy then. Male liberal staffer pretended to be a woman to win student executive position. A male staffer. Stop playing, damn it! Right. A male staffer for a Liberal MP attempted to identify himself as a woman as part of a sneaky factional deal to win a $12,000 executive position in a student election. Alex Fitton, who works for New South Wales State MP Mark Taylor in Australia, vowed he was not a cisgender male in order to become a joint general secretary of the University of Sydney's Student Representative Council on Wednesday night.
This is very transphobic right here. Because I don't understand how you can pretend to be a woman. From what I understand from advocacy groups on LGBTQ LMNOP issues, the moment you claim you are a woman, you are a woman. No questions asked.
That's exactly the point, isn't it? This is why this paper, the Sydney Morning Herald, is actually a transphobic piece of shit. And Alex Fitton is a proud, stunning, and brave trans woman. And
gender fluid. Gender fluid.
Well, no, openly trans. I think. I mean, he vowed he wasn't. Well, I mean, he might be gender fluid, but he had some variant of trans, and we know because he told us. That's how we know. He just says it, and it becomes true.
It is. So, you don't have to dress up like the role. You don't have to play the part. All you have to do is to claim you are, and yeah. I mean, only bigots would disagree.
Yeah, and this is my favorite thing. So if he goes into the New York pharmacy and says, "Okay, well, I'd like to buy these razors," they'd be like, "Wow, that's going to cost you 7% more." You'd be like, "Well, I'm sorry, you bigot and transphobe. I'm actually a woman. I identify as a woman. So now you're going to give me the normal price." And what are they going to do?
Well, they're going to get a lawsuit.
Exactly.
If they're in New York, especially, because in New York.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, did you just misgender me? Oh my God. $250,000 fine.
They can't even ask for your ID. I'm not kidding. Like, there is absolutely no way of fact checking this shit.
Yeah, well, literally, I just say it, so it must be true. Okay. So yeah, the 11th hour deal saw Mr. Fitton defect from rival faction group and joint taking with the student. Blah blah. Okay. So yeah, this is obviously just him being. It's just politicking. But this is going to happen, isn't it? If the more if you say this is only open to women, and then anyone can identify as a woman, then people are just simply going to start identifying as a woman to get the perks of being a woman, to get the special things that are reserved only for women and men aren't allowed.
Mate, I'll just buy a burqa. I mean, no one is allowed to peek under the hood anyway.
Hey, you don't need a burqa. This is the thing. With social justice logic, you don't even need the fucking burqa.
Yeah, see, but I the manliness in me will not let me identify as a woman, so there is, I guess, a fail system in check, so I'll just get a burqa at this point.
Dude, I'll just go.
I want to see who has the balls to pick under the hood to verify if I'm a woman or not. Look at his face. Don't you want to be in bed with him? Don't you want to give him cuddles? Her, I mean. Oh, come on, she looks gorgeous. She's stunning and brave. Shut the fuck up, don't be a bigot.
More attractive than Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner. But not by a huge amount. I'm not.
Well, if it's more attractive than the Woman of the Year, I think he's definitely a keeper.
But look at this. He ran for an affirmative action position by pretending to be a woman, the source said. What a misogynist. Trans-misogynist.
Trans-misogynist, yes.
That's disgusting. I can't believe social justice warriors aren't taking to the streets.
Right, and I want to mention that this is not like the case where that white woman pretended to be black. That's completely different.
Or Rachel Dolezal. She
has nothing to do with trans people.
I tell you, you've really got to admire her commitment to being black. I mean, she worked for like 10 years pretending to be a black woman. Literally, like, black people, what was it she did? She was some sort of counselor or something. So she'd have black people come into her office and have to sit down to a white girl in blackface who was pretending to be black and tell them about the black struggle. And it's just like, I can't imagine anything more offensive, though. It's just like, it's like a slap in the face. I'm being oppressed by the white man. Really? Tell me about how the white man is oppressing you.
Yeah, it's like, why do black people want to self-segregate? Because their white university teachers told them they're oppressed.
Yeah, that's literally it. That's not even a joke. That's literally what they're doing. And it is majority white, and they always complain about how white their faculties are. It's like, oh, well done, faculty. You've made these people think that being white is a bad thing, and lo and behold, you're all white. You know, you've just fucking fallen on your own swords, you morons.
Do you have the video with the voodoo?
Not at the moment, and I don't know whether we can play videos in Google Hangouts anyway. But do me a favor, read this.
Vegan. No, I can't. No, my brain just poofed.
Go on.
No, so I need to drink. Okay. Vegan sexuals challenging heteronormative masculinity through meat-free sex. So they're using dildos or what? The terms vegan sexuality and vegan sexuals enter popular discourse following based. No, man, why are you doing this to
me? Seriously. So, substantial media are interested in a New Zealand-based academic study on ethical consumption that noted that some vegans engaged in sexual relationships and intimate partnerships only with other vegans.
I don't understand how your mouth can just say these words without your brain telling it to stop. Stop it, Carl.
I love it. It just this is one of my favorite Twitter accounts ever. Right? A new real peer review, because what they do. I mean, like everything. It's just the craziest shit out of academia you've ever seen. For example, read this.
The thesis present. I mean, okay, no, it makes sense. And I'll just go into it. I'll talk about
the theory of architecture, eh?
The thesis presents theatrical queer feminist interpretation of architecture stage with a series of architectural scenes. Architect Elian Gray building, blah, 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 France, former author, blah, blah, blah. Queer performative acts or enactments of architecture. These cases bring into play the
interconnectedness.
I could have done it if you'd have let me. Sorry. Of material container, the setting, the deeds, and the actors. The broad rim of the thesis is to explore the role played by architecture in social and cultural construction of bodies, in particular in relation to gender and sexuality. Is he making like statues that are doing gay porn, or what exactly?
They're talking about buildings. They're talking about like Gothic architecture, or like the Louvre, and just oh my god, just Westminster Cathedral and its gendered applications and construction of bodies.
So do they make like a pylon shaped of a dick, or what exactly are they doing?
Yeah, but look at the bottom, right? Behind Straight Curtains seeks to affect both the analysis and enactment of architecture and contribute to an architectural shift towards a built environment that does not simply repeat repressive structures, but attempts to resist discrimination and dismantle hierarchies.
So, I can't even.
I mean, just like it's just going up to a building and looking at the building and saying, "You're oppressing me."
No, what this person did, they took their testicles and made them bounce on the keyboard, and words were spoken.
Actually, this was written by a woman.
Okay, she took her tits and bounced them on the keyboard.
No, some women can have testicles. Don't be such a transphobe.
Yeah. No, but the thing with the vegans, right? It does make sense if you think about it. Why do people become vegans? Because they care about the animals. No, because
really, I was going to say an unearned sense of moral superiority. But
exactly, that's it, right? I'm fucking better than you.
Yeah, Anna Kasparin isn't a vegan, but she knows she should be.
Right, that's the thing. And most of these people are also social justice warriors for the same reason, because they're fucking better than you.
Yeah. How about this one?
Okay. Love as intimate inquiry. Love as data in qualitative research. Academics have a hard time talking about the place of love in social research, no pun intended. And the lack of working definition for its meaning only partly explains our difficulty. What? The partial definition for the meaning love? All right. The more substantial barrier is our tendency to think about the research, not as careful exploration of specific social, intellectual, or methodological problems that bear on the everyday circumstance of real people, but as the product of observable and replicable process of science. So basically what they're saying, fuck objectivity, doesn't fit on our narrow worldviews.
No,
So
let's examine love from a scientific point of view. Well, not even, to be honest.
no, they're saying let's not examine love from a scientific point of view. Let's use philosophy.
Yeah.
Sports and Vampire Society. What? Romania now?
No. There's a peer-reviewed paper on feminist witches.
The paper discusses feminist witches, theories and practice in the light of anthropological theories about ritual and magic. Explore the roles of symbols and energy in magic. Demonstrates how these witches use ritual for empowerment and healing. I like the fact they don't even spell check their own paper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's abysmal. In Romania, they would laugh at you if you can't do that. It's like, oh, mate, if you can't even spell check the abstract.
And they'd probably burn her as a witch, right?
Well, maybe they do talk. I mean, I don't know. Where is this at? Is it like a historian university or something? Because if they talk about like how witches were seen in the past,
I don't think it is. It's from Anthrosource, the Anthropology of Consciousness. This was published in 2002 as well. Christ.
No, because there were witches in the past. I mean, you know, they weren't effective or anything. They're
talking about it as like sort of cultural, sort of social thing, really. I think.
Like the voodoo witch.
Yeah.
All right. With the black magic. All right.
Feminist transformation of the methodology of science. Although a rich tradition of feminist critiques of science exists, it's often difficult for feminists who are scientists to bridge these critiques with practical transformations in scientific knowledge production. In this paper, I go beyond the general basis of feminist critiques of science by using feminist theory in science to illustrate how a practical transformation of methodology can change molecular biology-based research in the reproductive sciences. I dread to think what that even fucking...
That's my head hitting against the desk, if you're wondering.
I kind of assumed that was what that was. But...
okay. This is a very hard push against science lately by progressives. And basically, you've seen it by creationists in the past. Like once the ideology gets unchallenged, whoever is the current establishment, they are going to go against science because occasionally science contradicts your ideology. And this is what feminists are doing now. They're basically saying that science is, that facts are racist, or that they want to decolonialize science. I don't know if you heard this expression.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Right. And what they're saying is that the current scientific method is not okay because it doesn't validate their point.
Take into account magic and witchcraft, yeah.
Yeah. But this is like what the Iron Curtain does, right? The safe space philosophy, the idea that certain things go unchallenged. Because we're laughing about it, right? But imagine living in a country where only their information would exist. You wouldn't know. You would actually believe there is a place in Africa that has black magic.
Yeah. I mean, I think they literally do. I mean, you saw the video where they were like, well, how do you explain a witch doctor or whatever calling a lightning bolt down on someone's head, and this like, it's not true, and they're like, there we go, just denying our magic or whatever it was. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, like, why didn't you win against the British Empire? Like, why did the British Empire have muskets? Why did you have the power to summon lightning from the sky? Jesus fucking Christ! I think the British would have hightailed it out of there.
I'm going to do a video on this crash course philosophy video they did. She's just there's this woman who is an SJW, I'm sure of it. Is
really? Well, what gave it away?
Well, the fact she keeps talking about the intersection of this and that.
I've had her iPhone about
but she keeps basically she's saying that geographical determinism isn't a thing, and I don't like the term determinism because it sounds too deterministic. But the idea that the resources and location of people has no effect on their culture or practices or success is just, I mean, literally, she thought that Jared Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel was racist, even though literally the thesis behind Guns, Germs, and Steel is anti-racist because it's saying, look, it's not that the Europeans are inherently better, it's there but for the grace of God. They happen to be in the right location at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the geographical place of Europe, it allowed for many nations to compete with each other, which got them to evolve and become the best.
Yep. At no point does she actually refute any of this either. She just calls it ridiculous and implies that it's racist and that this is a conversation that probably shouldn't be going on. And it's just like, fucking hell, And so, okay, but let's assume that it's not like the natural advantages that being in Europe has given the Europeans, right? Let's assume that they have no effect on why the Europeans managed to conquer everyone. What's the alternative hypothesis?
That, I don't know, some people are just absolutely better and some people are absolutely...
Exactly.
I mean, let's take the people of Saudi Arabia, for instance, right? They're not renowned for inventing anything. They're not... recently, right? They don't have like a huge multinational industry that produces like, oh, these are the goods from Saudi Arabia that we need to buy. The only thing that they have is oil.
Yeah.
And, and plus the tourism, where people are going there for religious reasons.
I just love that her argument comes down to the Europeans are just better than everyone else. I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but, if that's your opinion, love.
No, but imagine, like, take a country like Romania, right? Poor nation, doesn't have anything going that well for them. But if you would give them oil, right? If Romania would find, like, a rich mineral deposit in oil, all of a sudden it would be on the map. All of a sudden it would turn from a second world country into a first world country.
Yeah. Except for if you're Venezuela.
Venezuela has oil? I didn't know that.
Oh, God, yeah. Venezuela is like, I don't know, the 5th biggest oil producer or something.
Yeah.
So how they're starving is just a real win for communism, isn't it? I mean, it's just...
Well, see, the people at the top aren't starving. Communism is really awesome if I'm at the top. If you put me at the top, I will advocate for communism.
So, have you had a look at this queer necropolitics?
The book comes at a time when the intrinsic and self-evident value of queer rights and protections, from gay marriage to hate crimes, is increasingly put in question. How is it put in question if it was just being okay? Like, people put their rainbow flag on Facebook, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and it literally in America, which I assume they're talking about, every fucking state now has to legalize gay marriage, and they're like, "Oh, it's in question." No, it's not. It's literally just been decided.
Yeah, the question is, should we fine Catholic churches for not wanting to do gay marriages? Yeah. That's the question right now. Of course, Muslim people are being exempted from this, but it's a different story. Moving between diverse geopolitical contexts, the US and the United Kingdom, Guatemala and Palestine, the Philippines, Iran and Israel, the chapters in this volume interrogate claims to queerness in the faces of death. Well, that escalated pretty quickly. Both spectacular and everyday. A man fucking up another man's asshole and then death.
Yeah, but I love this. Look at this. Queer necropolitics mobilizes the concept of necropolitics in order to illuminate everyday death worlds, from more expected sights such as war, torture, or imperial invasion, to the mundane and normalized violence of racism and gender normativity. That's normalized
America,
normativity.
Didn't you know that America is a death world because it has racism and gender normativity? Like, I once wanted to go to the United States, but there were piles upon piles of corpses. I couldn't.
Just blocking the runway so the plane couldn't land, right?
Yeah, no. Luckily, I managed to get out in time because the racism was going to swoop in again. Gender normativity killing your children.
Yeah, I absolutely love this Twitter feed. It's just... In this article, we named feelings of fraudulence, the experience of self-awareness and self-questioning that feminist family scholars often encounter in their work.
I don't understand how you can call a feminist a scholar.
Yeah, but that's why they're experiencing feelings of fraudulence. Whenever they have a moment of self-awareness and self-questioning, they realize that they're total fucking frauds.
Can you understand? Can you imagine Anita Sarkeesian, sitting on the bathroom with her chin on her fist, thinking about it, and then it's like...
She's just like, am I a fraud? Are all of these people calling me a liar and a charlatan actually telling the truth? I'm retweeting the hell out of that. That is just...
maybe they're so good at it that once you make a really good lie, you start believing it yourself.
Well, honestly, I think that it does come to a point where they're kind of emotionally invested in the lie, because it's like I was saying in the video about Ghazi Kodzo and the moral Rubicon. It becomes a place where you've done too many things that you're going to have to apologize for to go back, and so now you have to just keep going forward, because otherwise, Jesus Christ, look at what everything you've done, you know.
Sorry, I had someone at the door.
No worries. But anyway, yeah. So I'm fucked.
Internet trolls targeted with new legal guidelines.
Yeah.
Well, are you an internet troll?
Well, kind of.
I don't think people called you that. I heard you being called a misogynist, a
yeah,
racist,
but look at this, right?
pseudo-intellectual.
No, listen. Internet trolls who create derogatory hashtags or doctored images to humiliate others could face prosecution in England and Wales. Well, Jesus Christ, who doesn't create derogatory hashtags? I mean, on the plus side, feminists are fucked. I mean, all they do is create derogatory hashtags, so they're in trouble. But
no, they have academic studies. Do you have academic studies?
Yes.
No, you don't.
Everything that's not feminist is an academic study against feminism.
Fascist is not feminism, so.
That's true. So yeah, inciting people to harass others online, known as virtual mobbing, could also result in a court action. Well, I don't do that.
You did that. Poor Christy Winters.
I've never said talk to Christy Winters. If anything, I don't think anyone should talk to Christy Winters. There's very little of value to be had.
Oh, so now you're saying that people shouldn't talk to women? Okay.
Yeah, just mate.
You're not digging yourself out of this one.
No, mate. Seriously, like over half of women's tweets are misogynist abuse or whatever it was. So it would literally be better if we didn't talk to them, because then at least they would get less misogynist abuse.
Sargon of Akkad, everyone.
Yeah, don't talk to women. Hashtag MGTOW. But what I love about this though is I hate when normies try to understand the internet. I really do. I mean, these people are probably thinking of like the teenagers who commit suicide because
I can imagine, right? You're sitting at your own home, right, doing your tea, getting ready for the next cyberpunk, and all of a sudden, this is the police. Open up. Did you start the hashtag?
Did you create this doctored image?
Is this doctored image of Viral Jubal?
That's the thing, though. I think these people are really thinking of the poor vulnerable teenagers who commit suicide because everyone in their class is calling them twat on Facebook or whatever.
On the other hand, I can imagine someone going like, "Hello, is this the police? Yes, he's in my house. Send someone quick." I'm sorry, madam. We can't dispatch any more officers. We're investigating a case of a doctored image right now, and most of our people are busy.
I can just imagine, basically the sort of Brianna Wu, Zoe Quinn sort of horror movie where she's sat on her computer and she's getting all these horrible tweets that are saying terrible things, and she's like, "My God, I need to track down the location of these tweets." So she's using all this fucking geometric fucking targeting and all that, and it's beep, 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 and it tweets down on her house. It's, oh my God, the tweets are coming from inside the house. There's someone on their mobile phone downstairs twittering at me. Fuck. And then the horror music starts playing and she has to run around and she sees a guy standing there in a hallway in a big Mac and fucking raincoat with a phone. Dun, dun, dun.
Man, have you seen the Zoe Quinn sci-fi documentary?
I haven't.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's about the internet abuse suffered by women.
Was it terrible?
Oh, sorry, it wasn't Zoe Quinn, it was Sui Park.
Oh,
and she gets a message on her phone I'm in your house and going to kill you right now, and she looks on her window and she sees a sniper rifle.
What?
Oh my God, no, it's fucking... Do you know what the answer to a loaded sniper rifle is?
No.
She pulled down the drapes.
Oh well, then that's it.
Oh my god, no man, you should really watch that video. It's absolutely like what I really love about social justice warriors is like if you take their ideology literal and you make a movie out of it, you end up with a jewelry like the anti-Gamergate movie was.
Yeah.
The special victim unit.
See, this is what annoys me about this, right? So this is what I'm saying. They use the example. One woman who wished to remain anonymous said her and her daughter, who has Down syndrome, has suffered such severe online abuse over the last 6 years they've had to move house 3 times. The abuse started, they said, when a friend wrote a book about trolls anonymously but mentioning her by name. Well, that wasn't very considerate.
So they couldn't like turn off the computer. Like they did not notice a pattern. They moved house once, and it was still.
No. Right. So the trolls photoshopped images of myself and my daughter onto pornography and posted on Facebook. They said I'm a paedophile and called her hateful names like a mongoloid. And I love that word. I don't know why.
Name is true.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know why I love the word mongoloid so much.
Do you know even doctors say like they have a mongoloid appearance?
Yeah, and that's what it is. I think it's like
you have to recognize it when you see a baby like that, and it's like, okay, it has mongoloid appearance, it has this and that. So you give the diagnosis of Down syndrome. I'm not kidding. It's how we do it in the hospital. It's not that doctor hates the baby. It's like
what you're saying is okay. So Dr. V goes up to a young mother who's just given birth, and you say, "I have some bad news for you. Your child is a mongoloid."
No. Like in the medical textbook, it says people with Down syndrome have the mongoloid appearance, right?
I know.
So you can put the diagnostic. You go to the mother and you say, "I'm sorry." It's like your child is suffering from Down syndrome. It's like, why makes you say that? Well, look at it. It looks like a mongoloid.
But the thing is, right, this is obviously a horrible thing that's happened to this woman, right? It's not her fault someone else wrote a book and mentioned her name in it. She doesn't deserve to have any of this.
You know what should happen? You know what really should happen? She should sue the person who wrote the book.
She should, actually.
She should, right? Why is it my fault? Why can't I use the Twitter?
But she doesn't want to because it was a friend of hers that wrote the book, obviously.
So what is my fucking problem then?
Yeah, but the thing is, right, this is the point, though, isn't it, right? So when she says it's been horrific, this trolling is not free speech, it's hate speech. Well, I mean, it probably does come under the category of hate speech. Not that I like the category of hate speech, but it's not free speech. They're not presenting a political opinion, and nobody's preventing them from expressing a political opinion. These people are just being complete twats on the internet to this woman. I'm not suggesting that she's innocent or anything. I don't know what she's done or anything like this, but it isn't something that, is necessarily acceptable. But then creating this, right? So inciting people to harass others online, okay, maybe, but it's the create hashtags and doctored images thing, because that then becomes an exceptionally broad category that literally now political satire is being targeted. That political satire falls under that category, and political satire is incredibly important to maintaining. It's incredibly important, honestly, for taking politicians down a peg. And I know that sounds like a weird thing that, is that really that important? But I really think that is that important.
Let's cut the crap, right? We're both adults here. We both know that this is going to be used only to ban specific type of political satire. It's not going to ban all political satire.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But the fact that it can ban any political satire is what bothers me. This is too broad, and it can absolutely create, it's exactly you say, it can exactly create a circumstance where the people controlling who becomes targeted by this have a political agenda and don't apply the rules evenly. And they won't. And we know they won't. We've seen it happen loads of times. So
even then, in the anecdotal evidence they give me, where my cock still has a tear dripping because it's like, oh, well, the poor woman with the mongoloid girl and whatnot. Why should that free speech be banned? Like, she can sue the person that wrote the hateful book, and the judge is going to analyze the individual case, because no two cases are similar, and is going to decide if the person who wrote the book is going to give some monetary compensation to the woman.
Yeah. And this chap who was bullied over his... The thing is, right, I don't know why... None of this sounds like something that anyone would actually bully someone over. This sounds like I'm being told half the story, right? So you've got this guy...
Even the one with the book, like, this is why I should go to court, because maybe the book wasn't even written.
Well,
You know,
no,
like,
I believe the book was written, but like, why would a mob of trolls be like, you know what, someone wrote a book, they mentioned someone in the book. Why would a mob of trolls persistently go after the person mentioned in the book, and without a reason to do so?
But even if they do, every single individual troll can be sued. Like, this is the collective ideology that I'm against, right? Because this is the thing. Basically, other people did it. Other people are using Twitter. You are using Twitter. You're guilty.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think that this is the BBC leaving out half the story, which is something that's happened many a time. But so, I mean, like this Kevin Healy guy, he told BBC's Victoria Derbyshire program he'd been abused online for 5 years over his autism campaign work. Why would people do that? Why would there must be something that he's doing that's provoking people?
The only time someone abused an autist was when Brianna Wood took a picture from an autist center and made fun of Gamergate.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
It was fun.
Because she's a terrible person.
Yeah, but it was funny.
Yeah.
No, as you're saying, it's like usually these people who are like this was on South Park today, and I'm not going to give you the joke or anything like that, but minor spoilers here, right? Because the philosophy they uncovered about trolling is excellent. Basically, you have a group of people that have a problem, right? That are oppressed.
Yeah.
And if you say something outrageous about them, you will get people defending them. But these people who are defending them eventually radicalize and become so obnoxious that they will get more people to be against the people defending them. And this is what happens with feminists, right? They claim they defend gays or whatnot, but then they become so obnoxious that they cause other people to be against feminists. And this is exactly what's happening with this guy with the autist thing, right? I do think he did something obnoxious. I do think he did something to piss off people. It's not the whole story.
I can only assume. I mean, there is the Autism Awards.
Wow.
4chan has ruined the word autism. I'm so sorry for anyone who has autism. I can't. Not even 4chan. Tumblr has ruined the word autism. If they didn't all put autism in their bios, then I probably wouldn't find this nearly as funny. But this, because I mean, don't get me wrong. I totally accept that autism is a genuine problem for the people who have autism. It's not funny.
Oh my god!
It's but they just look. It's not our fault, all right. Other people have done this to us.
Okay, no, I'll explain this from a medical point of view, right? You do have certain illnesses that have been romanticized in the media and in pop culture. One of them is autism. Another one is transgenderism. And you also have like PTSD, bipolar. And the reason is that these illnesses are very easy to self-diagnose, basically. And they're very easy to get sympathy from other people. It's like, I have PTSD, prove that I don't.
Yeah.
Right? And they get special privileges. They get special care than others. You don't see people getting fired because you go to a schizophrenic, a person who hears voices in their head, and you say that his voices aren't real. You won't get fired for that. But if you go to a transgender person and you tell them you're not a real woman, you might get fired for it.
Yeah.
So you see that even with mental illnesses, there is this chain of oppressions. It's like, which mental illness is more important than others?
But I can confirm, chat, that you are all the winners of the Autism Awards. You are...
I want to see who is the winner of the 2016 Autism Award.
I think Kevin Healy actually did win some. But this is the thing, right? It's not a funny thing to laugh at. It's not fair, you know.
But I'm not laughing. I'm treating this seriously. Oh, look, 2016 winners. Let's can you use this link of it? I'm really curious to see.
God,
who should I congratulate for being Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Professor Michael Rotter. Okay.
See, look, we're laughing, but these people are all doing good work, I'm sure. You know, these people are actually volunteering to help people who need help.
I'm not laughing, mate. I'm congratulating them.
The British people don't have anything to steal in their houses.
Team Award for Inspirational Education, the Autist team. The marketing team of autists.
No, okay. Let's not mock people who are actually doing good work for people, but it's just.
I'm not mocking them. It's like, see, if I would be doing good work, I would never. In the European and Romanian adoptee, the winner of autism. Okay, no, yeah, you're right. Let's not mock them.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of funny out of context. That's all.
I would never want to be.
In the context of people using Tumblr, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I would definitely never want to be a member of the autistic awards. I would just say, no, please no. just no. Take my name off. Just like, no.
But this is the thing. I mean, now I have to resist sending Devon Tracy a link to the Autism Awards and put him up for a nomination. You know,
Well,
I have to resist
you
mocking
can go to David Tracy and you can see his autistic award. It's like sitting on the shelf there next to his baseball award or what the fuck.
Oh dear. Anyway, so
it's like, you're autistic. No, I'm not, but you have an award.
So third-party voting is the height of white privilege. Did you know this, V?
Everything is the height of white privilege. Even when I take a shit, is the height of white privilege.
No. Everything is obviously white privilege, but it's not necessarily the height of white privilege. But listen to Robert Chappelle's reasoning here. I can afford to throw away my vote. I'm middle-class, straight, white Christian man, American Christian man. I have a lot of margin of error. I can afford to throw away my vote. Okay, you keep saying, because the thing is, I don't know whether you've noticed, Robert, but you are the only demographic in which it's okay to discriminate against in your country. I mean, you literally could go to a pharmacy and find yourself being charged more than a woman on the basis that you were born with a penis. So you can sit there and go, well, I'm privileged, but that doesn't seem like much of a privilege to me. Maybe I'm just a skanky old Jew or something. I don't know. Like,
you can also discriminate against Jews, by the way.
Well, it depends. Well, I mean, if they're male, you can't discriminate against female.
No. Even a Jew is female. You can discriminate them. If you're for Palestine and you identify as a pro-Palestinian activist, you can say whatever the fuck you want about the Jews.
Well, that's only half true. I mean, in this country, you end up getting in trouble.
Really? But in America, you don't. I've been reading a few things that are going on campuses. And yeah, also if you're an imam.
Oh, no. When I say trouble, I mean you get a bit of backlash. I don't mean like the law actually does something. Right. Of course it doesn't. But so yeah, to me personally, a Donald Trump presidency would be moderately annoying. I'd roll my eyes at the cowboy bluster he calls foreign policy. I'd be irritated that rich people get more tax breaks than I do. I'd take to Facebook to denounce the right-wing justices he appoints to the Supreme Court. This is interesting, right? Because Donald Trump isn't really all that right-wing. Donald Trump was a Democrat for quite a long time, and then he, I guess, defected to the Republicans. And one of the main sort of angles of attack against Donald Trump in the primaries was that he wasn't a conservative, that he wasn't right-wing. But yeah, anyway, obviously he's going to be appointing right-wing people.
Again, why aren't you not pointing out the elephant in the room? What's wrong with being right-wing?
Well, nothing. But the point is, it's just not an accurate description necessarily. On some things, he is right-wing, but on some other things, he's remarkably left-wing.
I think on abortion, he is right-wing, and gun control, he is right-wing.
No, I think isn't he pro-choice on abortion?
He is?
Just not up until, like, Hillary Clinton's, like, day before the abortion.
Oh my God, Hillary Clinton is actually a day before the abortion?
Oh, that was, it was in the debate, wasn't it? Where she was saying,
I didn't hear her say that. Maybe I've missed it, but
well, Trump was suggesting that this is what her position was, and she didn't refute him, or at least not that I remember. If she did, let me know, chat. I don't.
Wow, that's. I mean, even I am pro-choice because in my country we did have like the complete ban of abortions, and women did try to abort by themselves.
Just admit you're pro-abortion.
Yeah, I am pro-abortion,
yeah,
but what I'm
trying
to say is, like, if you ban it, women do try to do it illegally, and it ends up with a high number of retarded children. Because sometimes the women don't succeed. Like they start drinking alcohol heavily. They start trying to starve themselves. Like they try to smoke a lot, and it leads to malformed babies. And Romania had a huge number of them.
Jesus.
Yeah, just because you banned abortions completely. And I think Hillary Clinton did mention this in.
Yeah, I'm with you, V. Abortions for all.
But just not paid from the taxpayers' money, I think.
Oh, I thought they were going to be mandatory.
No, not like China.
No. Okay. Well, so yeah, he says he could safely join the 30% of young people planning to throw away their votes on Libertarian Gary Johnson or Green Party candidate Jill Stein. I love the idea that if you're not voting for someone that you're sure is going to win, you're wasting your vote. I mean,
yeah, but not only that, it's the ideology of the boxes. It's like everyone goes into a box. White people vote this, black people vote that, Spanish people vote this. Yeah. The collectivist ideology is what really drives me insane. It's like, oh, you're black, you're going to vote for these guys.
Yeah, the thing is, this is something I hate about fucking postmodernism. The idea that you can break everything down into categories, and now that you've categorized everything, all of these categories are equal in value. It's like, no, you can break it all down into categories, but some categories will still be things that are undesirable, if not outright bad, and some categories will still be desirable, if not outright good, So it just, I fucking hate postmodernism. It's stupid.
The philosophy of the ant people. It's like all white people are working together, or black people are working together.
Yeah. This is the thing, right? It assumes that they all have the same interests, which is absurd. They obviously don't. So it's just like,
This is why they talk about white privilege, because they believe like being white gives you privilege. It's like all white people are the same.
Yeah, because white people have been cooperating with each other for such a long time. Look at the 100 Years' War. That was a brilliant episode of cooperation between the French and the English.
Yeah, they're like the Jews, basically, controlling everything.
Yeah, what I love about like pretty much every ideology is who are the Jews of their ideology. I mean with like the alt-right and Islam, it is the Jews, and with the SJWs, it's the white man and also the Jews. And I mean, basically, you just need to figure out who the Jews are.
I'm curious, is there even an ideology that doesn't hate the Jews? Because maybe Zionism, but other than that, like...
Well, liberalism doesn't have a problem with any particular...
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's the point of it,
But there was very few, like, I'm talking about authoritarian ideologies.
No, I think I can't think of any off the top of my head that doesn't have a problem with the Jews.
Even communists hated the Jews.
I thought communists were founded by Jews.
They were, but the ones in my country, they didn't really like the Jews.
But was that holdover from when you guys were Nazis?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, they view Jews as rich capitalist people, so there's no...
Well, I suppose, I mean, if that's the case, you wouldn't... No. Communists were obviously...
Yeah, also a lot of intellectuals were Jewish, so no. Can't have that.
Yeah, this is like the alt-right fear of the Jews rising to the top of the alt-right if they're allowed to join. And it's like, well, that just makes you sound like you're Untermensch. The Jews are the natural leaders of society or something. If you worry about
someone is like, and this guy is legit, is not a troll. V supports holding a knife in front of the vagina during birth abortion. Like, first of all, that's not how abortions are always made. You usually, the morning after pill, the contraceptive, like you can do chemical abortion. You don't have to use an instrument.
Yeah.
Only Americans have the fetish with murdering the baby. It's like most countries do have like, 2 weeks or 3 weeks during which you can get an abortion. They don't go like 1 month, 2 months. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is quite well formed at that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's like, Sargonism is going to persecute the Jews. Like, you're damn right it is. Right, okay, so.
Even Jews hate Jews. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, I know, well, probably about, I don't know, half a dozen Jews or something like that, and they're all like just really sound individualists who don't appear to be part of some sort of international conspiracy.
Look, someone said, I have even seen some neo-Nazi Jews. I'm not kidding.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to rule it out. I mean, you do have a black man who's the head of the white supremacy, so... I
did not know that.
Well, it's Obama, if you're an SJW.
Yeah, but I do think, like, if you're a Jewish person and you believe all Jews need to fuck off to Israel and blah, 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 you might actually do support the idea that you can be a neo-Nazi Jew.
Possibly. Let me.
Is there any Jewish person who writes for the Daily Stormer?
Hang on. I've got a better one. Can you read that?
Okay. UK Labour's Hitler was a Zionist controversy.
So what do you think? Do you think Hitler was a Zionist?
Well, we can't rule it out, I guess. Let's entertain the notion.
Right. Okay. So the
By the way,
the thing is,
reading Mein Kampf.
this isn't
That's-
actually the most absurd thing that might.
Yeah,
be...
that's what I'm trying to say. I actually read Mein Kampf, and it seemed that Hitler had a lot more against communists than he did have against Jews.
I actually haven't read Mein Kampf.
You should read Mein Kampf, especially now that it's been made into an accurate translation.
Right. Okay. I will have to read it. It'd be interesting. But no, the argument is that Hitler had met with I think it was the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem or something. No, it can't have been that. I'm talking about something else. But yeah, basically they're suggesting that Hitler was a supporter of Zionism because he wanted to deport all of the Jews inside Germany to what would become Israel.
Yeah, there was actually a plan to deport them all into some other area.
Now, I don't know whether that's actually true, and I'm not sure you could really describe that as making Hitler a Zionist.
Well, isn't Zionism the idea that the Jews need to have their own land, and he was doing it for the bad reasons, quote unquote, if that's correct?
Yeah. No, this is the argument, but I don't think that would necessarily describe him as a Zionist. I think it would just make him an anti-Semite, wouldn't it? He just wants the Jews out of Germany, sure.
The thing is, if you would have actually managed to create a Jewish state, and give them their own land and blah blah blah, it might actually, had they won the war, it might actually make a good relationships between them. I know that sounds really retarded, but think about it. It's like a colony that America would create, or like Britain creating the American colony.
Yeah, Nazi Germany's Jewish colony.
I know that sounds ridiculous, right? But after Hitler,
they had the Madagascar plan, where they were planning to send all the Jews to Madagascar.
Yeah, and I honestly think that in the future, Madagascar and Germany would have good relationships. I mean, think about the United Kingdom and the United States, right? You did send all your deplorables mostly to the United States with indentured servitude and
that's true,
undesirables and whatnot. And then you ended up having good relationship with them, despite the fact that they rebelled and they won their independence.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, they're less objectionable than the French.
The French are really awesome when they go crusading, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so this was something I didn't get around to talking about, but again, I love SJW tweets and how they become full-fledged articles now. But yeah, some SJW was like, the death toll in Haiti is from Hurricane Matthew is 339. This is what environmental racism looks like. # Black Lives Matter.
I would call it a racist fart. Right?
Racist
You have racism and the wind comes and does the racist damage.
So are you saying that the divine wind that protected Japan from the Mongol invasion was racist against Mongols?
Of course. Was the racist fart.
I suppose it would be. So yeah, but this person's writing about racial justice has appeared in Grist, The Nation, and Mother Jones to claim. I wonder what their Twitter feed's like. Oh wait, Aura. Sorry, what the fuck was that? Aura Bagado. Okay. There we go. Oh, have they deleted? They've deleted their Twitter account.
Oh, are they ashamed of it?
Oh. I'm saving this image for future use.
See, I told you, the moment you take their philosophy literal, it makes for the best comedy ever.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Okay, so I might. I'll see if I can have a quick look around for.
Man, the power of the white people, right? We can now conjure hurricanes and deadly storms.
You
throw at the wintermensch.
You say that, but I think that might actually be something that's happening.
The hurricane?
Kind of. Hang on. Just waiting for something to load.
Is it going to be like red alert? It's like weather control device detected.
Yes.
KKK are manning it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's literally what the SJWs will think when this is something that becomes common knowledge.
No, I'm looking at the ideologies, right? The Daily Stormer and the social justice warriors, and as I said, they have their own Jews, and always the Jews have these superpowers. It's like the white man is now conjuring forces
look
of
at this,
nature.
right? Scientific American, geoengineering could turn skies white. Can you imagine anything more racist than that? So now, in social justice land, the KKK have managed to control the weather. So yeah, when you see a racist hurricane, I'm not surprised. Holy shit! This is probably. I mean, I love that this is just creating its own conspiracy theory.
The white haze that hangs over major cities could become a familiar sight everywhere in the world. Decides to try geoengineering to create a cooler planet. Scientists have long suspected that one-off discussed geoengineering technique, shooting tiny sulfate particles into the upper atmosphere, this is actually like shooting farts, by the way, could turn the blue sky white. Nature has already provided a basic proof of concept. Now a new study by research, blah, 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 man-made geoengineering. So why would they want to create it white?
Well, to reflect sunlight, to cool the Earth.
Okay, so they did find like a solution for global warming that's actually feasible. And
Well, I don't know how feasible it is or anything, but it will involve weather engineering, basically.
People living in New York might not notice a difference, but the other people living outside are going to be stunned by the white sky. It's like, okay, but are they going to get less hurricanes? Yes, then shut the fuck up.
But I just love the white man is going to take over the sky.
Well, no, but think about it, right? Even the people who are denying global warming, they still realize that we are getting more storms and we are getting like really nasty weather and whatnot. So a solution needs to be found. Collapsing the economy obviously isn't one. And if you could make the sky white, but you would end up with less storms and less hurricanes and all of that nasty tornadoes, might actually be a good solution.
Do you want to know something funny? This is not the first time that this person has claimed that climate change is racist, or that typhoons are racist.
The global poor bear the deadly brunt of the weather device invented by the Americans.
By Aurora Brigado in 2013.
Well, it's they do have a point. Poor countries aren't polluting as much as rich countries, but still.
Sorry, is China polluting more than Britain? Is it?
Is China poorer than Britain?
Yeah. Well, per capita.
Yeah, per capita, but as an overall.
1 million peasants there. Of course, they're not fucking in aggregate poorer.
Yeah, but I don't think the million peasants are polluting.
What? Why wouldn't they be?
Usually, the industrial cities are the major cause for pollution.
Yeah, okay, but they still have like millions of cars.
The peasants?
They have millions of animals, man.
Well, yeah, but I still don't think you can compare it to a city where you can't see the sunlight anymore.
Yeah, but those cities exist in China.
And aren't we talking about the Chinese?
Well, yeah, but what we're talking about is how China in total is a major polluter. And per capita, they're not very wealthy.
No, but like my statement was that poorer nations don't pollute as much as richer nations.
Well, again, it depends on the nation. On average, that's probably true. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, no, but the thing is, they do have a point, right? I mean, if you are to believe, and I'm not a scientist, so I don't know this, but if you are to believe that pollution causes hurricanes and natural disasters and whatnot, then when the poor are suffering is because their neighbors are the ones who are polluting,
Probably. But yeah, so this person is what I love about these people is all they write about is this kind of shit. This is all they write about. I mean, you can, and she apparently hasn't written for The Nation for a few years, but reproductive justice in the coming of age, the global poor bear the deadly brunt of climate change. Why does Los Angeles criminalize black and brown youth? Halloween has already become a horror show with a blackface picture. It's just fusion and Latino media's race problem. God, literally all they talk about.
Well, I do have a social justice point of view on this. If pollution isn't that bad, and they're not, why are we putting our most polluting factories in poor nations?
Because it's cheap.
Well, you do have a point, but if you put them in a civilized nation, you also have regulations against that factory.
Yeah, which is another reason to put it in a poor country.
Pretty much.
There are lots of reasons to outsource any kind of industrialization to the third world, especially if you're an international corporation.
Donald Trump.
You know, I tell you, do you know what I love about Trump and the whole, every time they're like, look at this, Donald Trump, and I'm sure Hillary made this point as well, that Donald Trump makes, in the debate, she made the point that Trump makes stuff overseas. You know, he outsources to China.
Hillary does as well.
Yeah, of course she does. Everyone does, because you have to. You know, this is the nature of modern business. If you want to make small, silly, cheap things, you have to do it in a third world country. And she's there going, well, Donald Trump outsources jobs. And it's just like, Hillary, this is what he's saying. This is literally his entire fucking platform is they've made it too easy and profitable to send manufacturing jobs overseas. And he knows this firsthand because as a businessman, he is forced to send his manufacturing overseas. And it's just like, you're not condemning Donald Trump when you say that. You are confirming what he's saying. And he's literally the only person saying it. I mean, who else has been running on that platform? Who else has been making a big deal about this in any way, shape, or form? Fucking nobody. That's it.
Do you know what's the problem with this, though?
Go on, what's that?
That you need a person that's at least smart enough to understand what Donald Trump is saying. Most of the drooling, indoctrinated people are going to look at it and go, yeah, rich person, bad. Hillary Clinton.
Honestly, the amount of people I've had say to me, Donald Trump is just part of the ruling elite. He's not like, you know, he's not, you know, no, dude, he is a rebel. He is a traitor to his class.
You need to be smart to understand this. You need to look deeper, you know, in order to realize this. Most people actually believe Hillary isn't rich and she's fighting for the poor. That's what people believe.
No one believes that.
Yeah, mate, have you read the comments on a few of the newspapers?
Well, I try to, but I don't ever recall seeing anyone being as audacious to suggest that Hillary is fighting for the working man.
Yeah, well, that's her platform. It's like, oh, we need to make America is great, and we need to focus on getting the middle class to become better, because when the middle class is prospering, everyone is prospering, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's her platform, and people believe that shit.
That's retarded. If America was doing so bloody well, you wouldn't have Donald Trump. It wouldn't be possible. There wouldn't be the political opening, you know, the power vacuum available for Donald Trump to go in and suck up all the fucking disenfranchised working class people who genuinely do need better jobs and can see that their jobs are being outsourced. These things wouldn't exist for Donald Trump to take advantage of them.
Yeah, and this thing with outsourcing is a national problem in a lot of countries.
Well, every Western European country, it's a problem, you know. It's going to become a problem in China in the next couple of decades when they start outsourcing to Africa.
You know, this is one of the issues that I think being nationalist, or not nationalist necessarily, but patriotic is seen as a bad thing because it inconveniences companies. I mean, in Romania,
it's kind of protectionist, isn't it?
Yeah, in Romania, there used to be this ideology that you should buy Romanian products. If you want to support Romania and have more Romanian jobs, you should buy things that are made in Romania.
Yeah.
It was called, immediately it was shut down. Like immediately it was made to disappear because you obviously, you don't want people not buying, you know, the shit that America or that the United Kingdom or that the European Union are selling to us.
Yeah. But who was it that was attacking it? What interests was it?
Sorry? Well, the interests of the politicians. They immediately just, you know, made it disappear. Like it was taken off the air immediately.
Right. Okay.
In Romania, you can't like shame people into, you know, it's like a racist idea or whatnot. It just disappears. You give money to politicians and overnight it disappears.
Yeah. So okay, fair enough. Right. Okay. I think that was pretty much everything.
Can we watch the Young Turks talking about camel toes?
Well, just first, I just want to congratulate Donald Trump on joining the Not Even Club. And he wouldn't even sexually assault one of the women who accused him of sexually
Really? He joined it? Are you serious?
Well, this is what they're saying. So yeah, congratulations, Trump. I'm very proud of you.
Okay, can we play this, please? I know it's not from This Week in Stupid, but
I can play stuff. But where have you sent it on Skype?
it's on Skype.
What? Oh, Jesus Christ, the Young Turks.
Okay, no, it's a really good game. Like, let's see how Cheng does. It's my favorite game.
Let me see if I can actually do it because yeah.
You should see Anna Kasparian. She's really good at this game as well.
Right. Can you see this at all?
No.
You can't see it. Fuck's
No.
sake. I just don't understand how this works.
I will play it. Okay.
Okay, well,
can you see my screen?
Yeah. I take it you're going to have your speakers next to...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, go
on. Wait, this is my favorite show.
I can tell because you upvoted it.
Hold on. I need to raise the volume a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Hamilton today.
Oh, we do.
We do. And I
You're springing a lot of surprise stories on me. Dude.
I am. The reason why I wasn't in the rundown is because you got to guess the camel toe.
All right, I'll give it my best shot.
Okay, so everyone at
And I
home, play
understand
along.
This is a special edition.
Special edition of Guess the Camel Toe.
Come on, Cenk, you got this.
You should be able to get that. Do I only get one picture?
Can we get rid of the subtitles or what?
No, these are the ones that are. I can't do anything about them.
So I can't see the camel toe. They're blocking my view.
You can't see the camel toe.
Well, they're in the way.
You want to play the game tonight?
Well, I was gonna do my best, but I can't. You know.
Okay,
So
hold on. Subtitles off. Okay.
Well done.
You can do this, Sargon. It's a classic.
I don't know who this is. This is not a camel toe I recognize.
What the hell? I think I fucked it up. I think I broke it. Shit.
Why does turning off the subtitles turn off the sound? Okay, you better put them back on, mate.
Okay, I think I fixed it now.
It's the camel toe.
All right, I'll give it my best shot.
Okay, so everyone at
And I
home,
understand
play along.
This is a special edition.
Special edition of Guess the Camel Toe.
Come on, mate. Come on,
Yeah,
Cenk.
I don't know who that is, but yeah, I'm looking for Chenk's answer.
I should be able to get that. Do I only get one picture?
Yep.
Can do it, Cenk.
Gosh.
I believe in
The
you.
thing is, the long black hair is the thing that's relevant here,
Well,
obviously.
that means you're not looking at the camel toe, Cenk. Have you turned off the sound again?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Oh,
Yeah, you turned off the sound. That's what's happening.
Young. So.
see, you notice that.
Oh, now the thing is, the long black hair is the thing that's relevant here. Obviously, that makes me think Demi Moore, but she looks young.
Yeah, that good catch, Cenk. Good catch. Demi Moore is an old woman.
Tell me about that young camel toe, Cenk.
So the arms look kind of young. I don't know. I don't know anyone who has long black hair like that.
Cenk,
I'm
you
gonna go Demi
disappoint.
Moore. No, her breasts are not large enough.
Yes, good spot on the boobs, Cenk.
Jesus, Cenk, I love it. Old school misogyny.
Apparently, I'm terrible. All right, I'll stick with Demi Moore.
Okay, it's Megan Fox.
Who's that?
Megan Fox.
This is even.
Yeah, who's that?
I don't.
Like, if I were racist, I would cut the head off.
Oh, so that's how you roll, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But okay, but that's a deceptive shot too, because Megan Fox has like larger breasts than that. You can't quite tell.
Megan Fox is a twig.
Megan Fox?
Oh, the claws come out, Anna.
She is an unrealistic depiction of women.
She's not a real woman. God damn it.
Not a real woman.
Yeah, but she has a nice rack, right?
She has a nice rack.
Maybe you're right. Okay, all right. Look, my bad. I didn't get it. You know what? We've already established I'm bad at this game.
Okay, fine. Your turn.
Okay, and I confess that others are better.
Mhm.
I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And apparently, camel toe is a weakness I have.
Oh
You know
my
what? I can add
god.
that. Iranian foreign policy, pretty good.
I love what JR said when we were talking about the story earlier. He's like, so what? What did you say? Her coochie got hungry and wanted to eat some fabric.
Oh, there you go.
That's so progressive. I love the internet.
Camel diplomacy, not good with camel toes.
Got it.
He is good with camel diplomacy, but not good with camel toe. Oh my.
I can totally see how they got 3 million subscribers. Fucking
Mate, this was a regular show on them.
yeah. This was what they used to do this on a regular basis.
They used to do this on a regular basis.
Bollocks.
Let me show you something else. Okay, you're going to have to play this one because like mine is really fucked up with the sound and all. It's in the chat.
Yeah, but I can't play the sound.
Oh, don't worry about it. They just like discuss which one is. Oh, hold on, I'll play it. Hottest women to throw out first pitch, and they got from woman to woman, talking about objectifying them, saying what are their strengths.
That is disgusting, Ben Mankiewicz.
Yeah, hold on. What the fuck is this? What is this bulge over here?
An alien?
I don't know. That's weird as fuck. Yeah, and look at this, right? This is the Young Turk Sports, by the way.
I didn't even know they had
1 million views.
But yeah, that's some nice objectification there. I appreciate it.
This guy is the llama, I call him. He's the spitter.
No, that's not Jimmy Dore.
What do you mean he's not Jimmy? He looks like him.
No, it's not. It's Ben Mankiewicz, or however you pronounce it.
Well, I guess your Jim is better than I do.
He's one of the co-founders. He's actually the most reasonable one left on the Young Turks. After Dave Rubin left, he's the last reasonable one.
Wait, hold on. That's no. What was the name? Jimmy what?
Yeah, you're thinking of Jimmy Dore, Dore.
Oh, come on, mate.
It's not the same guy, man.
I
It's not the same guy, I promise you.
All right, if you say so, I have to believe it.
Trust me, I know my Young Turks. All right?
You know your Young Turks, don't you? Well, you didn't know them in.
I didn't know them from 2009. You're right. I didn't at the time, but I do now, and trust me, that's not Jimmy Dore. Even then, right? Jimmy Dore is not the worst of the worst. He is pretty spineless, and hang on. Sorry, someone's distracted me with the camel toe of Michelle Obama. I have no idea what that is. I'm going to assume that she's just got a fierce camel toe. Have you killed your internet, V? See, and you talk about Romanian internet is being the best, but it seems to have gone. But okay, well, since V has... Oh, are you back?
I'm here.
Well, what did you do?
Nothing. My microphone just got unplugged.
Oh, okay. Did you see Michelle Obama's camel toe?
No.
Okay, I'll show you.
Why would I want to?
What do you mean, why would you want to? Why wouldn't you want to?
Wait. Okay, see, from a medical perspective, I do have to ask, what the fuck is that?
So what in your medical opinion, what do you think that is?
She forgot her strap-on on?
Maybe she just stuffs her panties.
I think that's a hand coming out from where it shouldn't.
Jesus.
The hand that grabs you.
Well, I have no idea, and I far be it from me to cast aspersions on Michelle Obama's womanhood. So
maybe that No, I'm not going to be that mean.
Probably a good idea.
Not on my no, not on your channel. I'll do it on mine.
Yeah, you do it on your own channel. That's fine.
People in the chat are arguing against like weather denial, and it's like the Senate disproved this and that, and it's like, look, from what I personally noticed, I'm not a scientist, right, and I'm not going to claim to be, unlike other people, but America does seem to be against global warming because they also have a huge industry that's built around polluting. So if they would come out against global warming, obviously, that would not sit well with a few people, while the European Union is for global warming. So I have one government telling me that global warming isn't a thing, and I have another government telling me that global warming is a thing.
Hang on. The American government isn't for... Are you assuming the European Union isn't anti-global warming, is it?
The thing is, if you find on a forum a random person...
I mean, they accept that it's happening, right?
Yeah. If you find a random person on the internet, and he says that global warming isn't a thing, if you ask him where he is from, 99% of the time he's going to say he's from the United States.
Oh, right, okay.
That's my point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about it, to be honest. So
I also know some politicians being paid by steel companies and whatnot in order to be against the idea of global warming. So there's definitely a lot of financial interest.
Yeah, there are definitely like big oil paying scientists to suggest that oil is this and that and the other and all sorts of stuff. I'm aware that this is all stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
but I honestly don't know anything about it. So I
don't know anything either. But even the ones that are like denying that pollution affects global warming, they do point out that the Earth is becoming more and more hotter each year. Like we reach record highs in a lot of summers, at least in my country and throughout the world. But I want to show you something even weirder, right? About this week in Stupid. I understand that in Britain, you managed to get a centimeter of snow the last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah. And it seemed as if the entire country was on a standstill. I mean, it was like it's the apocalypse or some shit. Like, do you people not know how to handle water when it goes into a solid state?
No. Well, the country, it does have a habit of grinding to a halt when there's a light snow. That's true. But we haven't had a light snow for a while. I didn't realize that there was any snow.
I even gave you a video of it, but I guess I need to find where it is. It was like really funny. It was like emergency vehicles moving around and shit, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? You know, it's just a little snow. I mean, if it was in Romania, kids would go out and start playing rather than acting.
Honestly, I think it's more just an excuse that people use.
Really?
They're lazy. Yeah, I think so. I think it's people just like, well, snow. Oh, what can we do? Oh, I haven't got any snow tires. It's like, dude, it's half an inch thick. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was a half an inch thick, and I was like, why is it acting like it's the Armageddon?
I think it's because people are lazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, I finally found it. So it's from Edmonton. Winter seems to have arrived earlier. Hold on, let me start sharing. Okay, so winter seems to have arrived a little early this season, and it's 13 degrees. And look at this; it's like sirens and cars, and like, look, people are dying and shit.
Yeah, but this isn't in Britain.
The winter's on yet. Yeah. Well, how could you?
Isn't Edmonton in Canada?
I need to educate myself. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, can't help you.
But still, even looking at this shit,
the French. So
yeah, but look at this. I mean, it's like 1 centimeter of snow. Barely any snow there. Like, let me show you some real weather phenomena.
Let me show you some Romanian snow.
Yeah, I mean, look at this shit, right? If I would see this, I would kind of understand that maybe you would have a point,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like when I see like centimeters of snow,
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at here. This is a real winter. You know, there's probably a Russian in the chat going like, "No, V, no, that's
This is a winter for faggots. That's what this
this
is.
is a winter for faggots." Exactly. Like, I see the winter. I don't see the snow. No, but it's actually like things that happen like this. You know, where you have certain villages where the snow gets so high it actually blocks people in their homes.
Yeah.
So they have to rely on the other villagers to dig them out.
Christ.
You know, imagine this. It's like you have a night where it's snowing so hard that it literally goes above your house. And there's absolutely no way you can open the door anymore.
I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't happen in my country.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right? This is an effort to... And we usually like have the National Guard, the army, you know, in order to dig people out. Get things like this. It is quite wonderful.
I understand why the Russian winter was so bad. You know, I mean, if you wouldn't want to have to kind of march through that, would you?
Well, it's not only that it can't march, but the thing is that even when you're inside the car, the gas can freeze inside the vehicle.
Jesus.
Yeah. So basically, it destroys the tank. You don't have that like in Britain. Don't you need to use antifreeze in combining it with the gasoline so it doesn't freeze inside?
Possibly. I have no idea.
Oh,
I don't drive, so I really don't know anything about cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm probably going to have to learn because my son loves cars. He thinks that... I think car was probably his first word. And whenever he sees one, he points at it, and he's probably going to be obsessed with these fucking things for the rest of his life, and I don't know a damn thing about them. So it's going to be disappointing for him, I tell you.
Someone said that Britain doesn't have snow usually, so they're not equipped with dealing with moderate snow. It's like, okay, that's not moderate snow. That's light snow at best.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even in Britain, we would consider that a light snow. If you got maybe like a foot of snow, that would be considered a heavy snow.
A foot of snow?
Yeah. Sure.
That's moderate snow.
That would be considered heavy, yeah.
Okay, and if the snow goes above the house, how would you consider it? The white apocalypse?
Well, yeah, we would blame it on the white supremacy, and the KKK have taken control of the weather, obviously, because this is not something that normally happens. So it must be a conspiracy.
You know what's the problem when the snow is above the house?
How would I know?
Okay, the snow is going to melt. The water has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it actually causes major floodings.
I imagine it does, yeah.
Yeah, like the problem is if you have a lot of snow and all of a sudden, like the next day it becomes hot, you will have water like literally taking people's houses away. It's horrible.
That does sound terrible. I mean, you would have thought that. I mean, how often does that happen? Is it every year or what?
Yeah. And this is why people are like, oh, why should the state tell you where you can build your house? That's why. Because like the state does know, like, okay, these areas are really bad for building houses because during winter time.
Oh, come on, no, you don't need the government to tell you where to build a house that won't get flooded, V. Come on, you don't need the government's permission for that, V. Come on, that's just the oppressive hierarchy. Come on, get with the libertarian program.
V doesn't know the freezing temperature of gasoline. Why the fuck would I need to know that information? I don't drive a car. Okay, all I need to know is that there is a freezing temperature for gasoline. And at certain degrees Celsius, you actually manage to reach it.
To be fair, I have no idea. Why the fuck would I know that? If I needed to know something like that, I'd just look it up.
The thing is, it's when it freezes, it expands, and it can actually destroy your gas tank. So that's why it's not a good for it to freeze. Besides the fact that the car doesn't function. Yeah.
Right, okay. Do you have any other things to go over?
Well, I think I would have a few if I look at my Patreon.
You had to bring it up, didn't you?
No, but usually I do take submissions from my patrons, and they ask me, like, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that? And usually I get so many of them that I never manage to talk about all of them.
Yeah.
So let's see. Democrat corruption revealed by O'Keefe.
Now,
Oh yeah, there's this video. A lot of people asked me to talk about it.
there you go.
Oh my god, I'll have to play it again one time.
Is this about camel toe?
No. This is politics. Honestly,
Politics
the
of
Hollywood type
politics
of
of
politics.
camel toe, right? Yeah, no, we're not going to go through that now, man. We're not going to go through that now.
Yeah, you know what it is, right?
Yeah. I've done I've done 2 videos on it now.
2 videos. Jesus. It's really funny because how are they denying the fact that there is corruption when Bernie Sanders lost the vote?
They're not. They're literally ignoring it. I saw a thing of Hillary the other, going around, but it was really bad quality, like fucking phone video of a television of Hillary in a press conference after the debate, being asked questions by the press until one of them brings up, well, what about this DNC conspiracy, blah, blah, and then it's just, I don't know anything about this, no, interview over, and it was just like, really, Hillary? Just do you think we believe you don't know anything about conspiracy to benefit you? it's just a bunch of secret do-gooders, isn't it, Hillary?
Yeah, well, what exactly is she going to say? It's like, oh yeah, you caught me red-handed. Look at something else that's interesting. Apparently, there were 4 American presidents that conducted deportations. So it's not just Trump.
Oh yeah. Banning Muslims isn't new either. That's actually happened in America before.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, go on, which presidents was it?
Well, let's see. Eisenhower program has a dark history, including its name. Operation Wetback, a derogatory slur, of course. They neglected to mention that in 1950 parlance, the term wetback was more factual than merely derogatory. They also did not care a whit about politically correct speech. Well, I can assume that when you're fighting Nazis and communists, you don't really care about politically correct speech. Because you're trying to distance yourself more from the enemy as possible.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing with Eisenhower, he actually had German camps where he held prisoners from the World War II after the war was over and starved them to death. Very few people talk about them.
Well, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah. The 1950s era transfer process resulted in a number of Mexican migrants dying along the way. They are attempting to make us believe this deportation was the Mexican Tale of Tears. During Tuesday's Fox Business Network, Trump declared that the Eisenhower program moved 1.5 million illegal immigrants out of this country. That was brutal what they did to those people to kick them back to Mexico. The stuff they did was really brutal. It could never happen today. Okay, I agree. Here's the thing. America has millions upon millions of illegals. And this is clearly the case of Obama, not enforcing legislation or not being incapable in order to stop it. So literally putting the millions of people on the bus and shipping them back home, it would be a horrible idea because you would end up with people dying along the way, and it would be a disaster from a political point of view. Yeah. But what you can do is you can give fines to businesses that hire these people, and you can deport criminals. So if they commit a crime, you deport them. Now, what this will happen is that if you make it impossible for them to find businesses if they're illegal, they will go back home by themselves.
Yeah, undoubtedly should be an incentive, I think.
Yeah, I mean, how would you do it if you are the leader of America?
I don't know. I mean, the first thing I would do is make sure that people who didn't have any right to claim the social services in the country weren't.
Yeah, absolutely. Like not give them welfare.
First thing I would do.
Yeah. Not give them welfare and social services. Yeah. But the thing with not giving them social services is like, let's say I take a visit to America, right? And I suffer a car crash and I'm in critical condition. Should they patch me up or shouldn't they? Well,
obviously they should. But that's not you coming over to be a drain on the system. You're not. This wasn't health tourism. This was an accident while you were on holiday or something like that.
Yeah. So I do think, like, despite the fact that you don't have insurance, I mean, the number of people that are going to have accidents while they're on vacation is quite small.
It's going to happen though.
So
you're going to have to account for it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, right after they should look is like, why are you here? It's like, well, I'm on holiday. Oh, yeah, okay. Or why are you here? Oh, you're illegal. oh, we're going to deport you. I mean, this is the thing that I don't understand. People realize that being illegal is a crime. I mean, you are breaking the law.
Well, entering a country illegally is a crime, yeah.
Yeah, and there are reasons for it. Number one, the person could be a criminal in his own country, not necessarily.
Of course.
Yeah, not necessarily like rapist or murder or violent crime.
In fact, I imagine that the majority of people who enter other countries illegally do so because they can't enter legally.
Pretty much.
Being a criminal may well be one of these things it does.
It could be tax evasion, could be anything. And
Yeah,
when
it
you
doesn't
do
have
that,
to be a violent crime or anything like that. But
when you do that, the Mexican police are not going to be able to find this person and get them to pay for his crimes. And I think it's the exact same would happen if an American would try to go to Mexico in order to escape the IRS or whatnot.
Yeah.
You would have Interpol, looking out for him. And if he is found in Mexico, he is going to be deported back to America. And this is the way the law works. And not only that, in Romania, for instance, we have a very profitable sex trade where girls are being kidnapped and they're being sent to France through underground
how much money do you
channels.
make out of this exactly?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how much the Romanian country makes, because usually the people who are trafficking the girls are staying in France.
Yeah.
So I think it's more profitable for the France government than the Romanian. But the thing is, right, they kidnap girls from Romania and send them to France through by hopping the border. If they would take them legally, the woman would be able to ask for help. She would be able to scream or whatnot. But by taking her, under the cover of the night to sneak up on the border, there's no way of her asking for help. So this is why enforcing your borders is important in order to stop human smuggling, in order to stop, weapon smuggling. Like the terrorist attack that took place in France was done with AK-47s.
Yep.
And France does not have any laws that allow for guns.
Or at least not AK-47s.
Or at least not AK-47s and grenade launchers like they had in Charlie
Yeah.
Hebdo.
I mean, you can probably get shotguns or something, but
yeah, and they managed to sneak them on the border because the border is not well defended. Let me show you the New York Times, I think, glorifying human trafficking. Like they actually take a person who is doing human trafficking and they're portraying him like a hero.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's the New York Times, either that or the Guardian. I'll find in a bit.
Okay.
You'll have to keep the chat entertained for a bit.
Well, why? Where are you going?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm just trying to find where the article is, because I find it abhorrent, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Well, let me go and grab a cup of tea so you can keep the chat entertained.
Okay.
With your gypsy magic, while I go grab a drink. I'm back.
I will. So let's see what the chat has to say, because I'm going to entertain you a bit more. Cyberpunk 2020. We're still discussing when we can meet up for the next one. Probably next Monday. I am entertaining you just by being here. Of course I know about the sex trade. I was at the University of Law. I did read about a lot of crimes that took place, including the sex trade. Not going to notice your feminazi frequency. It's not next month. I said next Monday. Hitler did nothing wrong. He was a hero of the German people. Actually, after he won the elections and several years after, he was definitely considered a hero by the German people. Even after the war, you had the United Kingdom leader, Churchill, saying that, I wonder if we didn't slaughter the wrong pig, because he found out the communist one. And the communists did seem as a greater threat than Hitler was. In fact, there was the Operation Unthinkable made by Churchill. You can Google it. which was to arm the prisoners of war that were Germans and send them to fight Russia, which would have begged the question from the United Kingdom at that point, what the fuck are T-44s and why are there a million of them? If I am a Slav, Romanians are not Slavs. In fact, during World War II, it was said that if you want to kill Slavs, Romanians are the guys to do it. Right. I will take a few seconds in order to find the interview with the guy who is doing human trafficking. Because I do think it's really important. I can't understand how people glorify a criminal, and it's quite shocking in my opinion. The lines between criminal and people who are law-abiding is starting to become more and more gray. Oh, I found it. Okay, and it's from the New York Times. Yeah. I'm waiting for Sargon to come back. If I would marry a Jew, if the Jewish person has big tits, I would have nothing against marrying the Jew. See, this is what I don't get about the neo-Nazis and the alt-right and fascists. It's like they identify as the white race, right? And the white race is a family and all of that kind of good stuff. It's like, you're a member of a lot of groups. Being white is one of them. You're also a member of being the person that's you're also a member of being American. You're also part of the group of being a man. You're also part of the group of the people that are 25-year-olds. You're also part of the group that people like tennis. So why exactly is that they are focused on the fact that they are white? And this group of being white takes precedent over all the other groups. And some people are saying Jews aren't white. Well, according to social justice warriors, there's two types of Jews. There's black Jews and white Jews. You need to get on board with the current ideology. The white Jews are horrible. The black Jews are good people.
Have you not met any black Israelites yet?
No, I'm just telling people because like Jews aren't white. But according to the SJWs, there's two types of Jews.
Well, yeah, it really depends what Jews you're talking about, doesn't it?
Yes. It's like white Jews and black Jews. Right, so I found the article, which is absolutely brilliant. It's made by the New York Times, and they're glorifying a person who does human trafficking.
All right, then put it up then.
I'm going to put it up. I'm actually surprised we did not manage to see it. So a French underground railroad moving African migrants.
Jesus.
And on a recent Sunday, about a dozen young men and women and children sat around a wooden table belonging to Cedric Hero, a 37-year-old farmer, laughing about who would cook that night. It would have been any family-like gathering in the pastoral setting high in the French Alps, just above the border with Italy, but it was not. A local hero to some, a scuffler to others. Mr. Hero was arrested in August, had helped his guests, all migrants from Africa, to cross the border into France illegally.
Hang on, but the fucking... This isn't an underground railroad, you fucking idiots. That was to get people out of a slave-owning state.
Well,
Not get them into a wealthy state to fucking take advantage.
Didn't you see the whole intro? It's like some poor people hanging around on a wooden table talking about... I mean, didn't it jerk a tear from you? Don't you feel for these people already, you sick son of a bitch?
No,
they're coming from Africa. They're oppressed there. We're going to free them.
I like that. Just everyone in Africa is oppressed.
You know what's even more funny as a medical perspective? If you want to travel to Africa or vice versa, you have to take a cocktail of vaccines. I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, you need to take Yeah, I think it's 6 or 7.
Yeah, so these people could be bringing various diseases, is what you're saying.
It's not they could be bringing, they are bringing. Because the thing with diseases is like this. If you are in a country like Africa, you are pretty much used to the pathogens that are there. Like your immune system is prepared.
Yeah.
When you go from Africa to Europe, you put the population at risk because they're not prepared for the shit you're carrying. This is why when you go to Africa, first of all, they check to see if you have any particular illnesses that might endanger the African population. And then they give you vaccines so you don't get sick.
I know.
Yeah, just another by the by why there are borders.
Honestly, that's not like the biggest of my concerns, to be honest. For me, it's things like the integrity of the state, the fact that we have borders for a reason. We have laws as to who can come in for a reason, and then it's just, oh my god, more of my tax money is going to pay people who shouldn't be here in the first place. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but you've got to have some sort of fucking sensible limits, haven't you? And
so
some twats smuggling people into the country. So what? I mean, what are they going to do? What, are they going to get a job? Who are these people? Can they read? Can they write? Do they even speak the language? For fuck's sake!
So I take it for you, Mr. Hero is not a hero, but he is a scuffalo.
Yeah, he's not like a villain or anything. He's just a bloody idiot. He's just one of those well-meaning idiots.
Like a villain. He's a fucking criminal. He needs to be arrested.
Well, technically, he is a criminal, yeah. But
technically, how much cash do you think he took from these people?
Hey, that's a good point.
From the goodness of his heart.
That's actually a really good point. And that's how they framed this, isn't it? I was in the frame of this guy's just a do-gooder. But you're right. I should have got the old gypsy cynicism out and gone, how much did you get? But the thing is, mate, seriously, everything you do is a gypsy something. So, but no, you're right. I think you're absolutely right. This guy's obviously taken money from these people.
Look, he is risking his own personal safety, so I do assume that there is some financial incentive in order to do this.
Yeah, there's no way that.
But no, listen to this. This is where you're going to like it.
Sorry, go ahead. Go on.
Some of these people might stay in France, but some wanted to get to Britain or Germany. The United Kingdom provides.
Thanks, Mr. Haru. I'm so glad that it's on your watch that these people get to be smuggled into my country through your efforts. I appreciate it.
Hold on, because now the tear-jerking story comes in. Early the next morning, cool and foggy in the mountains. See, the setting is like I love these journalists.
It's like a romance novel or something.
Yeah. Isn't it? Mr. Hero, this is what we call criminals now, Mr. And some volunteers in his underground railroad
traded. It's not an underground railroad, you cogs. Fucking. Sorry, go on.
Is this triggering?
Yes, it is kind of triggering me.
Don't you like what the New York Times has to say about Mr. Hero?
I think the New York Times can suck my fat one. Sorry, go
on. So Mr. Hero and some volunteers in his underground railroad traded tips on which Riviera train station would be the best to slip through. Antibes, Keynes, have you ever seen the cops at that one? He asked an assistant. There are cops at all toll gates, another piped up. Still, they had to try.
I love the way this is treating the French state as if this is like a Nazi occupation.
Wait, the Nazis,
like, this sounds like them trying to smuggle Jews out of Germany or something like that.
No, actually, Africa is Nazi Germany because they're trying to smuggle people out of Africa.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
It's like there are cops at all the toll gates. Still, they had to try because Mr. Hero was paid a lot of money and he couldn't say no.
And not only that, if he's caught with all of these illegal migrants, he's rumbled. That's it. Fucking, you're in trouble, Hero.
Okay, we go, Mr. Hero said finally, and off they went. For all the ways Europe had tried to keep migrants out, whether intercepting them at sea, tightening asylum rules, or suspending its system of open borders, they keep coming.
I love the way this is framed. It's almost framed like they have a right to be in Europe,
yeah.
And we are doing the wrong thing in general. It's just some sort of like literally violating their human rights by keeping them out of Europe.
They are citizens of Earth, you sick son of a bitch.
Yeah.
They have the right
I think these fucks genuinely think that.
The frontier between Italy and France, where the police now intermittently patrol key toll gates and train stations, demonstrates in many ways how these policies keep failing.
So we should just give them up then, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just give them up. They're not 100% successful, mate. There are occasional failures in the system. So what we need to do is abandon the concept of borders. Isn't that right, Hillary Clinton?
That is exactly a critical theory. The cultural Marxist way of handling issues is like you criticize something, and if you find holes in it, just stop doing it.
That literally is it. If it's not perfect, then the whole thing can go. And it's like, listen, you idiots, you are never going to find perfection. Just go for what's close enough. And having a national border is close enough to fucking it for me. So go on.
Well, actually, they did find perfection because this guy was arrested eventually.
Well, yeah.
Despite the rancorous debate over migration as presidential election approach next year, France has not settled on a policy. Should it keep the migrants who trickle across the border from Italy, expel them, or deal with them humanely or treat them harshly? So basically, expelling the migrant is not treating them humanely. That's literally what this article is about.
That's the way they're framing it.
If someone is breaking the law, I mean, these people don't understand. The French border does not sneak up on people. One day you're in Africa, and the next day, holy shit, I'm in France. This does not work like that. You choose to break the law.
Don't get me wrong. We don't need to like put them on a death march, Young Turks style, out into a desert and let them all die. I'm happy to have them sent back through humane means of putting them on an aircraft or something and sending them home.
See, if it was up to me, I would put them to physical labor. I'm not kidding. You know why? No, you're laughing, but you know why? Because someone has to pay for the gas. No, listen. Someone has to pay for the plane that's going to fly them back. Someone has to pay for the gas that's going to fly them back. What?
I agree.
What the fuck should I pay from my taxes because there's criminals coming over?
Okay, so let me just let me say that. Okay, so you basically in the V dictatorship.
Yeah.
Anyone caught crossing across the border goes into a work camp.
Mate, hang
on. Let me finish. Until they have done work to the value of their plane ticket home. Is that correct?
Yes. It's better. Okay. Do you know what the Soviet Union would do to people that hop the border?
Was there anyone who ever hopped the border into the Soviet Union?
Well, from one country to another. Like you could hop the border from Romania to Russia if you wanted. Do you know what would happen to you?
You'd find yourself in a place that looked remarkably like the place you came from?
You'd be shot. They wouldn't even like, they wouldn't even like ask questions or anything like that. They would shoot you on sight. Who is this guy? Well, he's not supposed to be here. Right? So I don't think I'm at that level yet.
Well, to be fair though, I mean, is a work camp a massive disincentive?
They don't have to go to a work camp. There's streets that need to be cleaned. There's flowers that need to be planted. There's homeless people that need to be
But there's still going to be some who think that's better than dying in Africa. So,
no, because
maybe if we just shot them on entry, just
once they pay for their shit, then you deport them. I mean, you don't have to be a dictatorship. Qatar does it, and they're fine. America has deals with it.
Qatar does it, and everything's fine in Qatar.
The Young Turks have deals with Qatar. FIFA thinks they're honorable people. Like, why should I, not follow the rules set forth by the great nation of Qatar?
Great point. Yeah. Sorry, carry on with this. I want to see just how lionized this guy gets.
Right. Oh no, you're going to love as the article goes on.
What are you doing?
Sorry, I fucked it up. I want to see what the chat said about the my idea to put people into
to shoot them. Oh no, yeah, you want to? Yeah.
I would not shoot them. Honestly, another way to get people to stop hopping the borders is to put landmines. I mean, if you put their warning landmine after this area.
Hang on, who the fuck is paying for these landmines?
Well, North Korea did it, and no one paid for it. But the thing is, right?
The people of North Korea paid for it in slave labor.
Did they?
I'm not having my taxes go to pay for landmines to blow up foreigners.
Yeah, but see, it's an investment, and you can even make a cool reality show based on it.
Yeah, I'd rather just dig a massive ditch or something.
No, if I would have people, and they should be plastic landmines, so you can't take them with metal detectors or anything like that. If people like manage to go through the minefield and go unscathed, I would say, you know what, they deserve. They got the right to be a citizen. Like Jesus wanted these people in.
So you want the lucky ones to get in?
Mate, if they're so lucky to get across the minefield, I'm sure they will be lucky enough to make the economy prosper.
Yeah, and when your home's being burgled by an immigrant, you're gonna be like, God damn.
How many people are going to cross my minefield, do you think? No, that is it.
How many of them are there? I mean, the thing is, how many mines do you have? Because I mean, you saw the waves of refugees coming in. I mean, if you look at that and think, right, okay, you could probably only take out about a third of that column before you ran out of mines.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's going to be the disincentive right now. There's so many coming because there are no minefields. But if you make a reality show, you can use the ratings in order to pay for the mines.
Do you know what they should do? The alt-right or whoever, right? What they should do is create a disinformation campaign to the people who are coming, as in find the Twitter, find like Arabic Twitter or like Saudi, like Syrian Twitter or North African Twitter, whatever, these sort of countries using Twitter and stuff. Find people from these countries and start spreading disinformation that say like fake fucking news and stuff like that. Like literally the European countries are shooting migrants at the border or something. Right. Start the rumor that goes around their country. Oh God, don't go to Europe because they've got migrant death camps. V. Monroe is putting them in fucking work camps and then working them to death. Blah blah blah. You've got mines all along the border and that. That is going to dissuade plenty of people just on the fact that you don't know if it's true.
The Hungarian actually mobilized their army to the border.
Yeah, they actually did shoot some migrants. Maybe you actually don't need to fake these. Maybe you could just send them things that have actually happened. But seriously, this would be something that they could entirely do.
If you actually put mines on the border between U.S. and Mexico, there are going to be people in the cartel sending children to clear out the minefield Russia style, like Red Army style.
Jesus Christ.
And eventually they will pass.
But yeah, I'm just saying that people could be proactive. You could talk to the people and say, look, don't come over here. It's fucking awful and everyone hates you.
Right, so let's go on and read.
Yeah.
Despite a rancorous debate over migration as presidential elections approach next year, France has not settled on a policy. Should it keep the migrants who trickle across the border, or should they treat them harshly? The ambiguity that modeled response is playing out in the unlikely setting of one of the world's most glittering playgrounds for the rich.
Yeah, the Riviera, yeah.
Yeah, the Riviera. And it's Greggy Alpine Hinterland. No, but it's like France is the playground for the rich. And that's just not fine. I mean, these people, they stood on this land, their ancestors worked on it.
Well, no, the French Riviera is a fairly prestigious place. He's not talking about all of France.
No, like from the way I noticed, I mean, English is not my major language, but it's like the ambiguity that model response is playing out in the unlikely setting of one of the world's most glittering playgrounds for the rich, the Riviera. And the people who are in Riviera, okay, they're rich. So what? Do they need to share?
Right. I just want to share my screen a second just to show everyone. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. This, if you were to flood like Syrian Twitter with this, get translating in Arabic, flood it with this, that people would start believing this is real. I bet you they would start believing this is real.
Oh my God, I'm going to appear in the new Huffington Post one time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dictator of Europe. So I'll present your screen again.
Oh, I will show you a movie with immigrants crying over the fact that they were fingerprinted in Romania and now they have to stay here.
Fucking, I thought you were fleeing a war.
Well, they wanted to cross through Germany and they had to come to Romania. And they thought it's Bulgaria, but no.
Why do you want to stay in Romania? Why do you want to leave Romania? Well, Romania is not giving us any money.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, we have to work here.
I've seen loads of videos of them saying how they've just come for money, and it's like, fucking hell. And then I had some Syrian guy the other day comment on one of my videos going, look, I'm from Syria, and I know quite a few people who have gone to Europe, and I don't know anyone who has gone to Europe because of a war. They've all gone because they know they're going to get free money. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not all of them. Hashtag not all. Fucking trademark that shit. Stamp it on everything for the love of God. But basically, there are going to be quite a few people who are incentivized by the fact that they think they're going to get free money.
Oh, by the way, look what we do to illegals in my country. Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay. Look at this shit. Okay, tell me if it's not glorious. Look at it. First you frisk them, right? Handcuff. Then you process them. And then you put them on the bus and you send them the fuck back.
I just love the way you're thinking. I love the way you're like, this is glorious.
Look at this shit. Look at it. Huh? Where are you from? Let's see. What is this? Allah Akbar. Show me what else you got.
It drives me crazy when it's like, this guy's from Algeria. Well, what the fuck's going on in Algeria? Oh, nothing.
What is this nonsense?
Yeah. But anyway, let's carry on with the Underground Railroad.
No, but, you know, you if you'd see this in America, what do you think would the political correct people have to say?
The SJWs would be pitching a fit. they would be like, this is just the Nazi fucking protection of our borders. How dare you not allow everyone on Earth into our country?
Oh, I really love my nation. Anyway, just miles below Mr. Hiru's self-styled safe haven, citizen collaborators tip off the French police, who have rounded up thousands of
citizen collaborators. This is actually starting to piss me off. As if these people are collaborating with the fucking Nazis.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Oh, man. Fucking hell. And this is what, New York Times, yeah?
Young African men, some little more than boys, are routinely pulled off of trains in scenes with ugly echoes of the French persecution of Jews during World War II.
Right, let's just carry on.
If I would not be here and you would read this by yourself, you would destroy something in the room by accident.
I mean, I would at least be yelling. I would just be yelling incoherently. Oh my god, this is.
I want to remind you of what Yuri said, you know, the guy who defected from the USSR. He said the goal of cultural Marxism and subversion, he called it, was to blur the lines between criminal and law-abiding citizen. The
thing though about this that really annoys me is the way that the Washington Post or whatever, New York Times, is treating the French like the occupiers of their own country.
Yeah,
as if they don't actually have a right to the country that they live in.
Absolutely,
they've built, that they have established the borders for, and that subverting this is a noble deed. For whoever, I mean, we literally don't know whether these people are criminals or not. We don't know what the background is. We don't know anything about them. And yet just the very concept is as if they're being persecuted by the French in some way. God, I can't believe they're making me defend the French.
The thing is, Yuri Bezmenov said that the goal of the journalist, the goal of the movie producer is to depict the policeman as an abusive policeman, a policeman who abuses his power. He is a stupid man, but he feels small and he takes it out on the little guy. The general, he is a very warmongering person, the one at the Pentagon. He only wants what's profitable for him and doesn't care about the people. While the criminal is a smart criminal. He is unjustly treated. It's because of the conditions around him that he becomes a criminal. He might do pot, he might do like small time crime, but he is a human being, and you should care for him. He is usually the hero in all of these stories. And reading this news article is exactly that. It's the exact subversion.
Yeah.
That the KGB were employing in the Cold War era.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. That's what I mean about like the French government and people being treated as if they are the Nazis occupying their own country. The framing of this whole thing is obviously sympathetic to the hero of the peace who's smuggling in illegal immigrants.
Not only that, you have to take into account that the people who are working with the police, you know, the concerned citizens who are reporting a crime, are now the collaborators.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, they're the collaborators. And keep going, actually, because they oh, fucking hell, this is pissing me off. But keep
Not
going.
to mention, like, one key fact. The Nazis were putting people into trains. These people are busy putting people out of trains. just to point it out, right?
Fucking gone.
The ambiguity that model response, blah, blah, blah. Just miles below Mr. Hero's self-styled safe haven, citizen collaborators tip off the French police. Young African men, some little more than boys, are routinely pulled off trains in scenes with ugly echoes of the French persecution of the Jews during the World War II. On the other hand, people like Mr. Hiro, who has become the de facto leader of a low-key network of citizen smuggler, so he basically is the head of a large criminal organization.
No. Keep going.
Are countering police efforts in a quasi-clandestine resistance, angered by what they see as the French government's inhumane response to the crisis.
Right, hang on. Go back up. Let's just go through that. Right. No, not yet. Right. So I love this. The framing of this is amazing, right? So yeah, the young African men are routinely pulled off of trains. How awful, with ugly echoes of French persecution of Jews during World War II, which is actually it's the total opposite of French persecution of Jews. And then on the other hand, people like Mr. Hiro have become the de facto leader of this network of citizen smugglers, as if that's a good thing, you know. And they're countering police efforts in a quasi-clandestine resistance. Resistance to what?
To the law.
To the nation state.
Yeah, to the law.
To responsible immigration policy. You know, to at least know who you're letting in. I mean, we know that ISIS are sending people in the migrant crisis to cause trouble in Europe, to commit terrorist attacks. We know this has happened. They have already done it, and they will keep doing it. And so just taking in unvetted immigrants is surely not a wise move. I mean, just
not to mention diseases.
There are going to be people who will commit terrorism attacks from this, and I'm not saying that just means keep them all out. It just means vet them thoroughly. You know.
Not only that, it's like the way the guns who went into the Charlie Hebdo and the what was it, the rock concert, right? They had guns. They were smuggled in the country. These are the people who most likely did the smuggling.
Possibly. I mean,
they already have the organization, and you know they already know how to do it. I assume they are the people who were asked to do it. Not to mention, I'm really curious about how much money is this organization being made. I mean, the way they are saying is like he's almost doing it out of humanitarian reasons.
Yeah, but I doubt it.
I honestly doubt it. Who the fuck would risk their own freedom just for absolutely no pay?
Yeah, no, I can believe that they're taking money.
They are rounding up blacks in the train station.
And they're taking them straight to the concentration camps and they're gassing them. Oh, no, wait. They're repatriating citizens of other countries who have entered your country illegally to take advantage of your welfare state. They're not victims, you twats. They are the perpetrators of crimes. God.
Are you a French nationalist, Sargon?
Apparently.
Mr. Hiro.
But hey, it turns out that I am.
Mr. Hiro said in an interview, sitting on the remains of a packing crate in his mountain refuge, they are taking children and they are sending them back.
Probably for gruesome genetic experiments, Mengele style, I imagine.
No, but I like how they are taking children and they are sending them back. Yes, they belong with their people.
yeah. I mean, and quote unquote children, are they? You know, these dudes with a big 5 o'clock shadow are like, yes, I'm 14.
Oh my God! Did you see the news? It was a Swedish kid wins a school running contest, and it was like 3rd or 4th graders, and this kid had a mustache.
Yeah. Honestly, I just can't believe the sort of just naivety of European authorities these days. I just can't get over it. They say, oh yeah, well they say they're this. It's okay, but have you considered they might be lying? You know, I mean, I'm not so much of a racist as to think that brown people are too stupid to know how to lie.
Yeah. They should do an X-ray and see if they have growth plaques on them. If they have growth plaques on the bone structure, it's like, okay, they're kids. If not, you'll consider them as adult. And it's not a perfect system, but it's better than it's like, oh, well, he claims he's a kid. He looks 35, but
it must be true, you know? And the thing is, I know that I'm going to get people going, oh my God, you sound like a right-wing nationalist. I said, well, look, I think the nation state's a good idea whether you're left or right wing. You know, I don't think that's an issue.
You know, like what really pisses me off about it, right? Romania is a shit nation, and I understand that if I would hop the border in Britain and they would catch me, I would be like, you know what? I committed a crime. Fine. You know, they're in the right. They really are. They caught me. They apprehended me. They're shipping me back. You know.
Of course. How are you going to argue with that? What are you going to argue against?
Yeah, but there are people who are like, oh, well, this is inhumane. This is unacceptable. Look to me what they are doing. Blah blah blah.
And again, that just speaks to a deep bigotry about what people think of the countries these people have come from. You know, they're talking as if these countries are just hell on earth, and it's said that these countries are not that bad. You know, Morocco and Algeria are not that bad.
No one was gassed in the Holocaust, you dipshit. With
yeah, okay, carry on with the article.
Yeah, no, I just want to say one thing because it's really funny. It's like they don't believe the Holocaust happened, but if they were in power, they would make the Holocaust happen.
Yeah, actually do that apparently, according to them.
Anyway,
he wasn't extreme enough.
They are rounding up blacks in the train station, Mr. Hero said in an interview, sitting on the remains of a packing crate in his mountain refuge. They are taking children and are setting them back. Either I close my eyes or I don't, he said. These are people with no papers at all.
Either I close my eyes to the legal actions of the French government, supported by the majority of French citizenry, or I don't. That's what you're fucking saying.
Look at this, okay? Now, this is where the double thing happens. Either I close my eyes or I don't. These people have no papers at all. That means they have no protection. I don't see how we can be enough. Look at what you are encouraging these people without papers for coming here and getting no protection. Yeah. You are actually encouraging the system.
See, someone in the chat's like, Sargon's too busy sitting on the fence. It's like, no, I'm obviously not on the fence. You know, I'm literally arguing against allowing illegal immigrants into the country. You know, make them immigrate legally, and if they can't, there's probably a good reason why they can't. I mean, is that really? How is that sitting on the fence, man?
At this point, you're so behind the fence that you have a baseball bat waiting for Mr. Hero to put his head in and look to see if the coast is clear.
What annoys me about this though is there is a greater ethical issue with just doing things like this. You know, by undermining the integrity of your nation, you are causing problems that you can't predict for people you don't know. So, you know, I mean, like literally the people who have been raped and murdered by migrants coming into Europe did nothing to encourage these migrants to come to Europe. They did nothing. They were never consulted as to whether they think these migrants should be here. And then when they're getting brutally raped and murdered by a migrant or a group of migrants, this is something that Angela Merkel has to answer for. This is something that she has enabled. You know, and again, it's just because I imagine most of these people had criminal records where they fucking came from. You know, the people not most of the migrants, but most of the people actually causing trouble and committing crimes. It's just
you know what we said in law school. If someone has the criminal element of hopping the border, then he clearly has no respect for the law.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, what if they're prepared to break the law getting in? Why would I expect them to, you know, uphold the laws while they're here?
And even if they do, you know, I'm not saying that everyone who hops the border is going to be illegal, right?
Obviously.
But let's say
no. Everyone who hops the border is an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, he is illegal, but I'm saying that they might not necessarily commit illegal activities after they jump the border.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's say that you are talking about the person who came here and he's a law-abiding citizen, he gets a job and blah, blah, blah. The problem is that when he gets a job, he is going to work without a contract because he can't get a contract.
Of course, he can't pay tax. Right?
So he's not going to pay taxes. But what happens is he's going to benefit from welfare. Like if he gets sick and he gets, he gets into a hospital in Germany, not in America, but if it's Germany or France or whatnot, he is going to get treatment. So he's going to be a burden on the system. And not only that, then you have the companies who normally hire people from that country, right? And you have like the French corporation hiring people from France. If people from France don't want to work at a certain corporation because the wage is too low, they will have to increase the wages. Like if people don't want to work at McDonald's because the work conditions are horrible and the wage is shit, McDonald's would just have to increase the wage they pay so that they can stay afloat. But when you have people that are coming from another country willing to work for less, Why would they ever increase their wages and improve their working conditions?
This is the problem. And again, this isn't just because of like Syrian refugees or anything like this. This is just the problem with mass migration of poor people anyway, in general. I mean, the very nature of just market economics, supply and demand. If you have an excess of labor, then the value of labor goes down. I'm a retard when it comes to economics, and even I understand this. So how is it that other people don't understand this?
A French guy said, please read the text of the Marseille for us.
Oh,
I think it's like the French Constitution or some shit.
Possibly. I'm not sure what he means by that, to be honest.
Oh.
But anyway, let's carry on with the article. So
Right.
I like getting annoyed at this.
So either I close my eyes or I don't, he said. These are people with no papers at all. I don't see how we can be on Earth. They have no protection. Flaunting the law, Mr. Hiru, who lives in an old olive grower's shack, makes regular swoops down the winding mountain road across the unnamed border to Ventimiglia, the last Italian city before France. There, the authorities have herded some 800 migrant men into a Red Cross camp in a blick of no man's land before the railroad tracks took them outside of town.
They're heroes.
Women, children, and families are kept at Ventimiglia's starkly modest church of Saint Antonio da Pova in the shadow of a highway overpass. I like how these people use religion in order, like Muslims do it as well, and you can see Christians are also doing it because they know the authorities can't go into a church to search the grounds. So they are using this loophole in order to do shady shit. I mean, after the Nice attack, they actually went and raided a few mosques and got like an arsenal of weapons that
Yeah. This is something that a lot of people. Let me see if I can find it while you're going through this.
And the Christian church is no example. It is not exempt from this. You know, they also hide migrants and other people there. To fetch them, Mr. Hero often uses the same dilapidated sky blue van from which he delivers eggs. I like how they are, trying to make Mr. Hero like he's a normal human being, like everyone else.
He's just a regular average Joe who smuggles illegal immigrants across the border.
But other than that, he has a van and he delivers eggs, and he lives on a farm.
In fact, if anything, he is an oppressed person.
Yeah, he is an oppressed person, of course.
Yeah.
Laid by his flock of cacophonous chickens to the sinuous street of the valley medieval villages. By the way, don't look for this article yet, because I want you to pay attention, because you're going to get really angry.
Okay, go on.
He takes the migrants to his property, where he has set up 2 small campers at the back so they can sleep and hide among the silvery olive trees of the Roya Valley.
I love the framing of this. Just look how magnificent France is. It's so beautiful, and it was just given to them by God. It was just fortune. It's not that the French did anything to make France good.
You know what you're missing? Again, from the picture?
Go on, what?
That Mr. Hero is rich as fuck.
Oh, is he?
Well, from the description, he has a fucking villa overlooking the
that's
town.
true. Yeah.
He's got olive trees, and he's got all of these nice property where he can hide people, and he has this blue van and shit. Where do you think he made all this money from?
Well, I suppose he's probably doing okay.
Yeah. They wander his property with a rare sense of security. Mr. Hero, he has the place to set up 2 tents filled up with migrants on his property. Like, just imagine the size of it. Mr. Hero estimates that he has helped more than 200 migrants this way. His accomplices in the loose network he informally led have helped dozens more, sometimes picking up migrants as they struggle up to step mountain railroads track from Italy to France, flattening themselves against the walls of dark tunnels as the trains pass. Okay, listen. If people would come and they would die during the trip, less people would try to come. If they are coming and you're helping them pass through, more will come and go through this dangerous and perilous journey.
Yeah, this is not like making me feel sorry for them. This is making me think they're stupid.
Yeah. Heaps of clothing and discarded flip-flops testify to their transient presence in the forbidding spots. They have no maps or guides, can speak no European language, and often wander inadvertently back across the border into Italy. No, this is something that boggles my mind, and I don't even understand this. Like, okay, Romanians are far better at this shit.
Yeah, but no, it's just I love this. The advert for these people. Yeah, so these people have nothing. They can't speak your language, and they're coming here illegally, and so they are the victims, and you should let them in because their country must be just. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Somalia is bad, but whose fault is Somalia being bad? You know, I mean, what are we supposed to do?
They actually were a communist nation before.
Were they? No, I've explained
Yeah, I
that.
think so. Or either communist or socialist. But still, okay. If I want to go to Britain, I learn English. It's like the most important thing that you need to do if you go into another nation. If I would go to Africa, I would learn one of the Nkliki languages. Look, I would do that shit. It's like, why would you go there without learning the language? And how hard it is to learn a language, honestly. It literally takes less than a year. I'm not saying that they should be fluent or they should have the best accent and talk like Shakespeare, but still, you would expect that they would have like at least a reasonable conversation. This is what pisses me off the most, because if you can't speak the language, you're never going to get a job.
Yeah. Here's the article about the.
Hold on, because it's almost over, and there's no. So, Mr. Hiru estimates right. On this day, after hugs for Mr. Hiru's Sudanese translator who stayed behind, Mr. Hiru, group of 14, tugged down the mountain for the next leg of the journey. His geese cackled loudly. Some of the migrants were laughing. It was just one more passage for them, and not the most difficult one. Most had already made the perilous crossing of the Mediterranean, then struggled up the length of the Italian peninsula. At the bottom of the hill below, Mr. Hiru's place, the migrants hid behind his van as cars speed on the highway, fearing that a passing motorist might report them to the police. Okay, then they set off on a mad highway dash down the mountain and across the Riviera. All right, now, I don't know how highways are in other countries, but in my country, it is forbidden for someone to do a dash on the highway. The reason you are not allowed to do a dash on the highway is because there are tons of steel traveling at extremely high speeds. When one of those tons of steel traveling at extremely high speeds notices a black man in front dashing the highway, they might pull the wheel, and at which point an accident might occur. They are literally putting people's lives in danger.
No. I don't. I don't think that's what they mean. I think they're using it to say that they drove quickly down.
Okay, so they're not dashing.
Because they say they're ducking their heads each time they pass the police on the road. So okay. I think they're in the car and they're ducking their heads down, man.
All right.
Yeah, but this whole thing is just absurdly over dramatized for a bunch of illegal immigrants who have just come here to take advantage of the fact that we have a welfare state. Honestly, I am genuinely annoyed about this because it's just. Again, I'm no economist, but I'm fully aware that the more people you have benefiting from a welfare state they didn't pay into, the less lifespan that welfare state is going to have.
Really, you think? You don't think the government can just print more money and feed you?
I'm actually, I'm no economist, but I think I grasp that very basic fundamental premise.
You don't think the Star Trek replicators are a thing yet, where you can just make food out of thin air?
Unfortunately, I don't think they are yet.
No. Okay. Lots of people.
It might come to the point where literally we do need to make people work who have come here illegally, because otherwise the government isn't going to have enough money. You know, I mean, it might actually come to that point. So these people are essentially like indentured servants for the government because they've come here to benefit from the government. It's just like...
See, you're reaching my conclusion as well.
Sorry, well, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to happen or anything, but it's not like... It's not an illogical conclusion to predict, you know?
Mr. Hero made an intermediate stop at the house of a fellow smuggler. Hubbard Jordan, who works out of a tiny office behind the train station in Nice. Oh, well, bring more black people into Nice. I heard they're really good drivers.
Yeah, to be fair, it wasn't a black person who...
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, but like, what can go wrong with bringing people into Nice? I mean,
Oh, just illegal immigrants. You don't know anything about them. They might be criminals. They've already committed a crime getting into your country. They have paid nothing into your state, so you owe them nothing.
they don't even speak the language.
They don't even speak the language. They're not exactly going to be upholding your social contract. So why would you?
They don't even know the laws of the nation if they can't speak.
Yeah, exactly. They don't even know the laws of the nation. I don't see this in any way as a virtuous act, is what I'm saying.
Lots of
This,
people.
in fact, seems to be irresponsible and selfish.
Lots of people have become mobilized, and lots of people called the police. Mr. Jordan said, describing the division among the local population, it is an astonishing atmosphere. One of the migrants, a girl, became ill, and paramedics were called. I mean, what did I tell you about vaccinations?
Yeah, it turns out we've got diseases they're not used to as well then.
Well, you'd think.
Or it could just be a regular illness. I mean, people do fall ill.
Yeah, they do. But honestly, the chance of getting ill if you go to Africa without taking vaccines or the other way around is incredibly high.
Probably quite high, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Hero eventually decided that 14 were too many to put on a train at once, so he shaved the group to 9 and left.
I presume he did that by shooting 5 of them. Just the way this is being described, like it's a fucking Gestapo officer just caught fucking 14 Jews, but he only had room for 9, so he shot.
Look at the waterworks now. Later, the 5 who remained behind, all women, were arrested and sent back to Italy after the paramedics turned them in.
Probably after being serially gang raped by the French authorities.
No, but I like the fact that he left all the women behind. It's like, fuck you, bitches, we're going to Germany. For those who left with Mr. Hero...
No, get back up. They look like they're on a fucking holiday.
Yeah, they did.
This looks like you wouldn't know this wasn't tourists if you weren't being told. You know, if you saw this picture out of context. For fuck's sake, we're so fucking struggling. Yeah, you don't look like you're struggling.
Not us, though. For those who left Mr. Hero, it would take all day to find a train station they could slip through to continue their journey north. At Keynes Railway, workers called the police. Finally, in the next administrative region over the brown shirts came, and the conductor agreed to look the other way. The conductor agreed to look the other way.
Yeah.
Allowing 3 migrants to board at a time as the trains went through. We negotiated with the conductor, Mr. Hero said. There's a kind of license fare, he explained. One day it is yes, the next day no. I don't have a global solution, he said at another point. But the state is not managing this properly. I think it's my duty, and I don't think it's normal that children have to go through this.
What children? What children? But the state isn't managing this properly. What? I mean, if you're subverting the state, then how? I mean, what? Oh my god!
We need to invent the teleportation device that would connect France to Africa, and then the kids don't have to go through this. We can just teleport them.
And do you know what annoys me about this? Though? I'm not unsympathetic to the plight of people in war-torn locations. I'm really not. It's just taking millions of them en masse into Europe is not the answer. I mean, it's so obviously not the answer.
You know? I wonder how much do they pay? Like, do you realize how much you can extort them?
Well, no, I'm not even thinking about that, right? It's more that we're already paying Turkey billions of euros to keep most of the migrants, right? They have been threatening Europe and using this as a bargaining chip in order to get what they want. Fast-track visas in this case, right?
You know what's ridiculous?
No, hang on. But what
it should be the other way around. Turkey should pay you. Because the thing is...
No, hang on, right. The thing is, either way, we're paying billions for this. And that's not including the millions of migrants who have come into Europe and are now being paid for by European taxpayers, right? So either way, this is costing us a remarkably large amount of money. Why not? I would rather us pay for them to stay near where they come from and hopefully return to their homes than have them come to the country and then still pay for them. You know, it's just there are obvious problems. They're supposed to go to the nearest state that is not in a state of war. How are they ending up in Germany? You know? Just
No, but the funny thing is that Turkey should be paying you, because according to international law, asylum seekers should seek asylum for the first country that they arrive in that has no war, which is Turkey.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Or
yeah,
Lebanon,
basically
or
Turkey is saying, oh, you have to take them in because
Israel,
asylum seekers. Yeah. So how much are you paying Turkey? We're taking them in. How much are you paying? That's how the conversation should be, not the other way around.
Yeah, but they're the ones threatening to send them across. So I can see why we're paying them money. You know, it makes sense, and it's a weapon that Turkey can use against us, which is fine and it's fair. You know, I mean, they do have these migrants. They are costing Turkey loads of money. It's not Turkey. Well, it might be Turkey's fault, but you know, I can understand why they give them money to keep the migrants. I can totally understand it, and it's totally pragmatic. It makes sense.
No, I honestly don't. I mean, if Turkey doesn't want to respect international law, why should you? This is the thing that I don't know.
It's protection money. That's what it is.
Mm.
Protection from having millions of migrants sent our way.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
but what it does is not without risk. Dozens of smugglers have been arrested in the region from profiting from the traffic.
oh,
Unlike
really?
Mr. Hero, who does not profit.
Oh, well, that's... I mean, I guess you just took his word for it, didn't you, New York Times?
Well, yeah, I mean... Sorry, unlike Mr. Hero, who claims he does not profit.
Yeah.
But on August 13, the French police arrested him nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, because whether you're profiting from smuggling people into the country or not is not actually the crime. The crime is the smuggling of people, you fucking idiot. Jesus.
This guy is a paid assassin, but this guy kills people for free.
Yeah,
Police arrested him nonetheless.
And he killed someone for free, and they arrested him nonetheless, yeah.
They followed him back to his mountain retreat, pointed guns at his head. And at those, they treated him like a criminal. And at those
they treated this criminal like a criminal. How awful.
Yeah. And at those of the Eritrean migrants he had just picked up and jailed him, the migrants were hustled back to Italy. After 48 hours, the prosecutor in Nice decided not to pursue charges, having concluded that Mr. Hero was acting for humanitarian reasons, his lawyer said.
Yeah, see, this is really interesting. Actually, I've sent you something across afterwards. It's from the Guardian, but it's not such a war. But up to 3% of its people have fled. What's going on in Eritrea? So
yeah, but hold on, because I really want to understand this, right?
Yeah.
They caught a person who is smuggling over 200 people into France, right? And their reaction is to let him go so he can keep smuggling people into France. I mean, what exactly is the, I don't know, safe check to prevent him from doing this criminal activity? I can't even, like, what is to dissuade other people from smuggling people into France if they see, oh, the minute you get caught, you are being let go?
Yeah.
They caught him and they didn't pursue charges. Just in another demonstration of France's jumbled approach to migrants, the police know exactly where Mr. Hero is and what he is doing, yet they mostly leave him alone. Yeah. So the police doesn't give a shit as well.
The reason, I'll share my screen in a second. The reason I think there might actually be some sort of, I think we might be responsible for causing, well, not causing something, but like, listen to this, right? So the story of Adam coming from Eritrea.
By the way, someone in the chat said that me and you are outright civic nationalists.
Oh, I'm sure we're terrible. No, not really alt-right. It's just nationalist. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with being left-wing and being a nationalist. So he was, as a 14-year-old child, he was forced to become a conscript in the military. But after 6 months of abuse and what amounts to slave labor, he escaped for home. There he was arrested again and spent 3 months in prison without trial before being returned to military service. He escaped a second time, being caught a second time, returned to prison, then sent yet for another spell of military service. By the time he finally fled to Sudan, oh God, if things are that bad, you're fleeing to Sudan. Fucking hell. He'd been jailed twice and forced to become a child soldier 3 times. After being kidnapped and tortured by Libyan smugglers, presumably on their way to France, He finally reached Italy by boat this summer. The day I arrived here, that's my new date of birth. The 16 years I previously lived, they don't count. In Eritrea, I never used to think about the future. I never knew if I'd survive the day, but now I'm trying to do that, right? Now, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. What people like this have to go through. But it's not something that we've caused, and it's not something that we're responsible for stopping. It is, in fact, the responsibility of the Eritrean citizens to overthrow their totalitarian government. If that's what the government is like, it's incumbent on the citizenry of the country to change it.
Absolutely.
That's the point, isn't it? It's literally nobody else's responsibility but you. You know, if you're living under a tyrannical government, then you have to try and fight it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Like Romania.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If this guy was coming to Italy, well, I was going to say in order to get military assistance, but obviously he wouldn't be going to Italy for military assistance. If he was coming to Italy to get to Germany or France or somewhere like that and request military assistance, I'd understand it. You know, it'd be fine. But it just strikes me as a massive dereliction of duty to your own fucking country. You're just like, no, you know what? Just fuck you all. You can just live under this tyranny. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave. I mean, and if literally hundreds of thousands of people are doing this, 3% of Eritrea are doing this, then how is it ever going to get any better in that place?
No, I completely agree. It's what the president of Syria also said. It's like, if you keep taking people out of Syria after the war is over, hopefully you do believe the war is going to be over, who's going to rebuild?
Well, yeah, it's a legitimate concern, you know?
Mate, I find that what La Marseillaise, and apparently it's the national anthem of France. And listen to this. Arise, children of the fatherland. The day of glory has arrived. Against us tyrannies, bloody banner is raised. Do you hear in the countryside the roar of those ferocious soldiers? They're coming right into your arms to cut the throats of your sons, your women. To armed citizens, form your battalions. Let's march, let's march. Let an impure blood soak our fields. What does this horde of slaves, of traitors and conspiratorial kings want? From whom are these vile chains? The long-prepared irons. Frenchmen for us, what an outrage. What fury it must arouse. It is us they dare plan to return to the old slavery. To armed citizens. What foreign cohorts would make the law in our homes? What these mercenary phalanxes would strike down our proud warriors? Great God, by chained hands, our bros would yield under the yoke. Vile despots would have themselves the masters of our destiny. To armed citizens. Tremble, tyrants and you traitors, the shame of all parties. Tremble, you parasidical shames. Will finally receive their reward. Everyone is a soldier to combat you. If they fall, our young heroes, the earth will produce new ones ready to fight against you.
Honestly, it's recently inspiring.
Sacred love of the fatherland. Lead, support our avenging arms. Liberty, cherished liberty, fight with the defenders. Under our flags may victory hurry to thy march's ascents. May the expiring enemies see the triumph of our glory. We shall enter, and this is a children's verse. This is only for the kids.
Oh my God.
We shall enter the military career. When our elders are no longer there, there we shall find their dust and the trace of their virtues, much less keen to survive them than to share their coffins. We shall have their sublime pride of avenging or following them. To arms, citizens.
Honestly, it sounds a lot like something that was recited in ancient Sparta, where in one of Plutarch's lives, I can't remember which one it was now. He gives a chant that the Spartans used to have. And they used to do it by age, and so they'd have the oldest chanting something, you know, like singing. Like, we're old and wise and experienced, and then the young men would say that we're the strength of Sparta, and the kids would say, yeah, but we'll be stronger.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I'm
patriotic sort of singing.
I'm curious how this anthem manages to survive in a political correct climate.
Because that's a good question.
You could look at the slaves and the traitors as being the people who are bringing immigrants right now.
Well, you could, yeah. Was there anything left of that article, by the way?
No. I think it was a little more, but
Yeah, but it's basically the same thing.
there was.
Okay.
So
share screen.
yeah, it's really what really pisses me off the most. Okay, despite the fact that New York Times views this person as a hero, the fact that the authorities allowed him to walk away, and despite the fact that the police know what he is doing, they're allowing him to keep doing it.
See, that drives me crazy. So I don't even care. It's just like, look, I don't even care that they think it's right or wrong. It's, you know, you can take issue with whether you think laws are, you know, a particular law is right or wrong morally. You know, laws aren't moral. You know, they're not necessarily morally just. But the fact that you're a fucking police officer means you do have to enforce it. And if there is actually potential consequences for what someone's doing, then really you do have an imperative to do it. So for fuck's sake, just do your job.
Okay, are you calm?
Yeah, go on.
Do you think, is there anything that I can say that would piss you off more than anything you have read so far?
Go on, hit me with it.
In Brie-sur-Roya, an old French-Italian villages of outdoor houses in the valley, Mr. Hero is something of a celebrity. At the Friday night local council meeting, townspeople clapped him on the back, greeting him warmly. That afternoon, he had shared a beer with the town's socialist mayor in the town square. What do you think?
This is going, yeah.
What do you think the mayor said about Mr. Hero?
Oh, he's a hero of the resistance.
No.
Go on.
Yes, of course we know, the mayor said in an interview. Yes, of course he is outside the law. This happens in France.
Oh, well, there we go.
Isn't this like French people need to start learning to live with terrorism?
Yeah, that was the prime minister who said that.
Well, I guess this is the idea. It's like, well, we have the laws, but people do break the laws, and the rest of the population just need to learn how to live with criminals. This is pretty much the message that's being clearly sent. That very day, 3 Sudanese migrants had straggled into Braille's town hall. The mayor did not turn them over to the police. Others agreed with the assessment and have done the same. We think we are doing what we should do as citizens. A well-known Paris lawyer who lives part in Braille, she is part of the smugglers' network. Down there, I am a citizen, and what I do is illegal, she said, and I help them. In fact, the migrants, I mean, I just love how the criminals are coming up, and they're like, yeah, I'm a criminal, I do this. What you gonna do about it? Eh? What you gonna do?
Yeah, this is driving me crazy again. As if, oh, all right.
You think the police doesn't know? Yeah, they know. They caught me. They let me go. They don't care.
Yeah, everyone's just fucking, and yet you're gonna have fucking people in a Paris suburb somewhere that are surrounded by new immigrants, and are in the sort of places that are gestating terror attacks.
Immigrants are legal. Okay, I don't even want to call them illegal immigrants. They're criminals. That's what they are.
Well, I mean, technically, but it's not very good to just characterize someone as a criminal.
Right, they committed a crime. They are criminals.
Yeah, but it's not like some sort of immutable, finalized thing. You know?
I normally I wouldn't do it, but because of political correctness, I will call them criminals.
Yeah, okay, but and the thing is, I don't really blame the people who are trying it. You know, okay, fair enough. You think that
no, it's not their fault. Don't get me wrong. Like the people,
you think that, you know, through the incentives that are available, you think you're going to get more money in France or Germany or wherever than you are in Somalia or Eritrea or wherever.
No,
that's probably true. Yeah, exactly.
I admire them. It's very hard to cross, you know.
But the thing is, you probably wouldn't do it if you didn't know you were going to get a reception like this.
Of course.
I wouldn't try and get into a different country. So I would assume they'd be angry that I was trying to get into their country and take advantage of them. I would assume that they would be like, well, you just came here just to leech off our fucking welfare system, didn't you? You just came here just to get a job that you haven't earned. You don't have an entitlement to because you're not a citizen of this country. You know, you weren't going to pay taxes. But you were going to use everything that taxes pay for because I guess you're some sort of anarchist. You know, but this just drives me crazy. It's just like, look, there is a deficit, a fucking duty of care that has to be upheld here. And it's, oh my god, this really does just annoy me, actually.
People tell me I should call them invaders. No, like invaders are organized.
Yeah, they're not
And they will, like, at least I admire invaders more, you know. They manage to beat the shit out of the defenders, and then they take the right of invading.
Yeah, the right of conquest.
Right? But these people, and I'm not talking about the illegals, I'm talking about the ones who are allowing illegals to come in. They're the ones fucking their nations for future generations.
Yeah. They're creating problems for people. That's the creating further problems down the road.
I want to say, because people say I'm like the alt-right, and look, if these people, blacks or whatever, would be university professors, doctors, and nurses, and engineers coming from all these countries, I wouldn't mind. I would be like, okay, wow, that's really good. Yeah, sure, get as many, you know. But no, they are actually illiterate. They are committing criminal activities, as we can see, because if you can't get a job and you can't feed yourself, you are eventually going to have to find money.
In fact, hang on. Here's go to the chat and open that last link I've just sent. Nice background. Okay, so V just disconnected himself, but while he gets himself back. So yeah, 65% of Syrian refugees can't read or write or join the workforce. Just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, these aren't doctors coming along. These are people who literally are just going to be a burden on the societies. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, so and you know, I don't want to sound unsympathetic. I'm sure they come from terrible places, and I'm more than happy to send them money or fucking, you know, I'm happy for our army to go over and defend their towns or something. I don't, whatever, you know. Just...
You find that news problematic. Hold on.
Sorry, say again.
You find that news is problematic. Like, no. Look at this one.
Go on, send it through.
This is going to make your blood boil even more. German asylum seekers refuse to work, insisting we are Merkel's guests. Asylum seekers in Germany are refusing to undertake work to counteract boredom, using Chancellor Angela Merkel's generous hospitality as an excuse. According to Mayor Bernd Pohler, on the eastern town of Saxony-Waldenburg, the asylum seekers refused to accept the work that was offered to them when they arrived the country. The local council spent £600 arranging for the men to have uniforms, but were stunned when they were told would not complete it because they are guests of Angela Merkel. This is happening in Britain, by the way.
Hang on, right, okay. I actually have one better.
No, you can't outdo this.
Oh, mate, no, thousands of refugees successfully sue German government over partial asylum status. We're going to come here. You're not going to make us full refugees or give us asylum, and so we're going to fucking sue you. Around 90% of the appeals against subsidiary protection orders have been successul.
Of course, if you're going to put liberal judges, left-leaning judges on the board, yeah, you're going to end up with shit like this.
Just suing the government. Just fuck you. Just fuck off. I mean, I just can't imagine like how angry I would be if I lived in Germany. I was like, yes, all these migrants are coming out. Okay, fine.
Oh, look at this one.
But they're suing the government now.
I have one even better. Hold on. Let me just find. I mean, it's not better. It's just still appalling and different. But where the hell is it? Okay, I found it. So I'm sharing my screen now. Look at this. Muslim burqa women march through the streets of Brantford, England. Look how nice this is, huh? Is this not British? Look at this shit.
Mate, this is what I should be showing to the middle class. They don't live in Bradford, man. You know, like the Champagne socialists. They don't live anywhere near here.
Look at the beekeeper suits. Look at them.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What exactly are they protesting, though?
But no, hang on. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, find out what they're protesting. What are they protesting?
With its population of smiling faces, Birmingham, UK really is the place to live and make new friends.
Oh, look at all those smiley faces.
Honestly, how can they not find this oppressive towards women? How can they look with the straight face and say women are choosing to wear this?
I don't know. What I love though is that there's burqa fashions. They're not all just wearing the same burqa, mate. There are subtle differences here.
Yeah, you have black, gray, and different shades.
Do you think they're like, yeah, my husband went away on a business trip and he brought me back a lovely burqa from Iran? But okay, I've got one. I've got one better than that. Me.
6-year-old migrant Abdul arrives in United Kingdom and is immediately placed in primary school.
Hang on. Going back to that.
No, hold on.
No, hang on. This is directly relevant, right? So the London mayor, the Muslim mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, says the U.S. immigrants don't assimilate. That's like in Britain. Don't assimilate. Just form a colony. Fucking.
Do you know why this is? Because a lot of people like in the alt-right are saying, "Oh, we have statistics and blah blah blah." Like the statistics are there, but the way you interpret them is shit.
Yeah.
It's not that like different cultures don't want to assimilate. When you don't know the language of the nation, you are going to go towards other people who speak your language just because they're the only ones you can understand. So that's why they don't assimilate. One of the biggest things to assimilate is making them learn the language.
But yeah, but seriously, listen to this, right? So he's like, one of the lessons from around the world is that the laissez-faire or hands-off approach to social integration doesn't work. Yes, well done, Sadiq. We need rules, institutions, and supports to enable people to integrate into cohesive communities for the avoidance of doubt. I don't mean assimilation, I mean integration. There's a difference. Okay, so what's the difference? People shouldn't have to drop their cultures and traditions when they arrive in our cities and countries. Okay. So if your cultures and traditions involve bigamy, child marriage, clitorectomies, or anything like this, he thinks that you should be able to keep that. I mean,
let me give you an example.
It's just not compatible with our laws.
Yeah, exactly. If you go to another country, you can keep your traditions and whatever, as long as they don't come in direct conflict with the traditions of the other country. So, for instance, if me and several Romanians would go to Saudi Arabia, despite that it's tradition to drink champagne on New Year's Eve in Romania, I would not do it in Saudi Arabia because alcohol is prohibited there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for instance, we have this Easter tradition in Romania, right? We celebrate Easter by coloring eggs, and then eating them. That's not something that comes into conflict with Saudi Arabia, so we could still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let me show you now something that's. I'm curious if this news is legit, because if it is, it's just going to blow your mind, because it's still in Britain.
Go on then.
Okay. 6-year-old migrant Abdul arrives in UK and is placed immediately.
That's not legit.
Let's see. It's not. Yeah. Okay.
Dummy.
That's so bad. British freedom. One nation under Allah. Fury after school recites pledge in Arabic.
Oh, fucking hell, really?
Britain's broken asylum system costs more than £1,000 a minute.
I can believe it.
Knight Templar International.
Yeah, I think these might be a little bit too far down the rabbit hole for me to be using as a source.
Well, I do agree, but sometimes they do post articles and I look at the article individually rather than.
No, I'm not saying that they don't post anything that's true. I'm sure they do.
I don't want men sitting with our pupils. LBC callers on refuge taking UK for a ride. All right, let's go back to the people with the Iron Cross. They seem more reasonable. How old are they? Verdict of face recognition software on migrants.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested to hear this.
This is from the Mail Online. See, the source is Birmingham infidels, but then you go on and you go to the Daily Mail. Much better.
Okay, go on. How old are they?
Okay, so town halls threatens to revolt last night if they were burdened with bogus child refugees from Calais. It came as a computer analysis of photograph of child migrants who arrived in London from the jungle camp this week, suggesting they could be in their 20s and 30s. A local government chief warned migrant suspects of lying about under 18 could be put through age checks. Free health education and housing will be withdrawn if they fail.
God, look at that guy on the bottom left. The computer age 38. He fucking does. He doesn't look young, does he?
No.
Look at the fucking. Oh, this is a 40-year-old child. Shut your fucking mouths, you liars. Come on. How could you think anyone's going to believe that?
What we don't know is the process of verification the Home Office may have undertaken to establish the age of people. Also, 20-year-old is not a child, by the way.
No, it's still not a child, but either way, these fucking... Oh, yeah, these are just teenagers, mate. Fucking... Fuck off.
The
honestly.
little rascals.
Yeah, just scams, you know? Just... Why the fuck would they think anyone's going to believe that? I mean, they must have been looking and going, right, okay, they've told us they're 17.
Yeah, pretty much.
God,
That's it.
Everyone's going to call us liars. You know?
It's like transgenderism. It's like you say you're a woman. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. They're
We know a
trans children.
significant portion of people who come to the UK under existing arrangement claim to be children turn out to be over the age of 18, which has been a bigger problem for council. You know, they've been doing this to Sweden for years now.
Yeah.
It is certainly possible that young people arriving from Calais as unaccompanied asylum seeker children needing support will be refused support if there are doubts about their age. Look at this shit, mate. Look at this shit.
Yeah, these are not young people.
Honestly, this could probably pass as a young person.
Yeah, that guy's the closest. But even then, if I saw him, I wouldn't think teenager.
Yeah.
You know?
Analysis of photographs of some of the child migrants arriving in London over the past few days suggests some could be older than they claim. The facial recognition software by Microsoft even suggested one migrant was 38. The global software giant stressed yesterday that How Old Do I Look program was a fun app that guessed how old you look using machines learning. A spokesman, well, maybe they're black, so they look different and we can't tell. A spokesman said it is not intended to be used as a definitive assessment of age. Yeah, but even then, you can't tell me these are children.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that this is the equivalent of scanning their teeth or whatever. But fucking yeah, these are obviously not children.
A spokesman said it is not intended.
I can't even believe we're being asked to entertain the idea that these might be children.
Yeah.
I mean,
shut up, you bigot. It came as as it emerged,
you know,
that the migrants who are supposed to be 17 or younger,
it's horseshit.
Are being given arbitrary dates of birth because the Home Office cannot verify their ages. Haris Stizaki, who arrived on Monday, said he was 16, but he had been given an official date of birth that makes him 17. The Afghan youngster who does not have a birth certificate said that the Home Office told him he was born January the 1st, 1999. Maris told Mail, I am 16 years old. My uncle, Yangazi, I do not know the exact date and month he was born, but he is my nephew, and I know I can see that he is 16.
But you don't know when he was born, so how do you know?
Yeah, he can see.
Oh, right. He
has the power.
Yeah, I can see that he's not 16. Well, now, you know.
The Home Office have said that his birth is on a particular date, and I do not want to have an argument with them over it. But he is younger. If a refugee does not have birth certificate, or a Home Office screening officer can certify them as a child based on their physical appearance and demeanor. Unless the asylum seeker appears significantly over 18, they should be afforded the benefit of the doubt and treated like children. When officials believe the refugees is a child, but not the age they claim, screening officers will estimate the date of birth. An age assessment will then be arranged with trained experts. Yeah, I can see the experts being really spot on this shit.
Yeah.
Councils are responsible for all costs associated with lone child asylum seekers up until the age of 25. Jesus, so everyone under the age of 25 is being paid for by the state.
Apparently.
Councils are responsible for all costs associated with lone child asylum seekers. Brilliant. The number has risen to 55% in a year because of the spiraling migration crisis. So 54% of the migrants are kids, eh? At least 3,472 unaccompanied children were seeking asylum. Council chiefs expect hundreds more child and refugees from Calais.
Well, honestly, I'm just really I hate the lies. It's honestly I would probably agree to most of the things that they were asking if they were just being honest. You know, they could just put it in. Yeah, okay, look, these are guys. You know, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have empathy for them, and they've travelled a long way, and they've done it for these reasons, and there would probably be some like, yeah, okay, fine, you know, okay, yeah, fleeing war zone, whatever, all that sort of stuff. But when you tell lie after lie after lie, and you have to sneak your way in, and you know you get all these videos of them just going, oh, we want money, Merkel, you owe us money, we're suing you now, and it's just
look at this 12-year-old child in Sweden won a running competition.
12-year-old, he's got a receding hairline. What kind of fucking 12-year-old has a receding hairline?
12-year-old refugee running competition in Sweden.
Yeah, just what fucking lunatic world do we live in? Unbelievable.
Well, you know why this is, right?
Because we're fucking insane.
No, because the laws are made in order to be as left as possible, and you do have people who are eventually going to question the laws. But the moment you question the laws, you're a racist, you're an Islamophobe, you get fired. And you have people that keep going like left, 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 left. They have to outdo each other. They have to prove they're more to the left than their opponent, because you can't say right, because that's racist. So you're going to keep having people going left, 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 and you descend more and more into madness until you get a 12-year-old winning this competition.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you can see this as being done out of ideological reasons rather than pragmatic, real-world reasons. Because, yeah, exactly as you say, you end up with fucking 30-year-old fucking like a 30-year-old fucking Moroccan immigrant or something, saying that he's a Syrian refugee and that's under the age of 16. It's just like,
oh, this is a nice segment as well.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got to go in a minute, but
this is the last one, I swear. Aren't there any girls' questions over child refugees as more hulking males come into the United Kingdom?
Well, yeah, that's another good point as well. They seem to all be men, don't they?
Anyway, I'm going to unchain you now.
Yeah. Well, no, hang on. I've got one one last thing I want to go through. So, hang on.
Should you jail and deport Islamic hate preachers? Yes and no. Who the fuck would vote no on this one?
Right. So I don't normally go to everyday feminism, but this was something that from 2015 that someone found, and my God, it's amazing, right? 3 symptoms of this is listen, V. By the end of this, I will be telling you that you're oppressing me. So, 3 symptoms of executive dysfunction and how not recognizing them might result in ableism. All right. Now, he's been trying to write this article for 2 weeks. Every time I think about writing it, I'm frozen. And the more time that elapses, the harder it is for me to get started. In fact, just the act of opening up my word processor took about as much energy as I imagine it takes to lift a car above your head, move a pile of bricks with your mind, or make $1 billion overnight.
Wow.
And this doesn't just apply to this one article. Most of the time, this inability to act expands to everyday tasks like cleaning the dishes, making the bed, hell, getting out of bed can be just difficult. This is, well, it might be a man. It sounds like a man as well. But this is nothing new in my life.
Sounds like a man.
Throughout my academic career, I'd post these things at school that needed to be brought home, forget that certain assignments were due, and would leave everything to the last minute. This was so bad that almost every night my mother would drive me back to school just to pick up all the things I'd left on my desk. Many folks see this behavior and are quick to label it as laziness. I wonder why. I wonder why they're so quick to label this as laziness. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is virtually the story of my life, right? I am a lazy motherfucker. And this person has just described being lazy. That's what they have literally described, right? But no. It's not as bad as you think. I have a reason. I have an excuse. It's actually someone else's fault, right? So this process wasn't a way to escape my responsibilities or shirk off schoolwork, but the result of a brain incapable of the necessary planning and self-motivation it took to get things done in a timely fashion. So you couldn't just stop being lazy and just get on with it. No. There's something wrong with his brain. What we're saying, and I'm not joking, the thesis of this article is that being lazy is a form of disability.
Of course it is.
Right? So for the first 22 years of my life, I listened to teachers and peers complain about my lack of focus, laziness, and inability to plan things out. I was known for my apathy, and most people in my life thought I was just winging it constantly because I just didn't care. Seriously, this is the story of my fucking life. This is exactly how I've always felt, basically, right? It was incredibly frustrating because, on one hand, I started to believe people when they told me I was just being apathetic and lazy, because you fucking were, and on the other, I knew that there was more going on than just laziness and apathy. Yeah, extreme laziness and apathy. When there's no other word for your inability to do things the way others do, you begin to believe the other words that are thrown your way. There was no way for my peers, friends, and teachers to know that the everyday struggle was against my brain.
Well, it's this philosophy that the individual is never responsible for his action. It's always someone else.
Exactly. Now, it's not him, it's his fucking brain that's the problem. Yeah, I'd love to, but my brain won't let me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry. What am I to shrug? You know.
Yeah, give me welfare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I in fact need to go back to bed. Why? Because my brain wants it. Just what kind of fucking excuse is this? Yes, I'm trying to talk to your brain. You know, put that in charge of the mouth. Okay. Let me have a conversation with the brain and let's see what we can figure out. But yeah, so when I asked myself, or other asked me, why I couldn't just do what I need to do when I need to do it, the only response I could think of was, I just can't. And that didn't seem like a valid answer, because it's not a valid answer. But then I ran into a term that radically changed the way I viewed myself. Executive dysfunction. Oh, thank God I have a label for myself now, right? So executive dysfunction is a term for neurological differences that affect planning.
He's a doctor now. He actually explains to you what it is, yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking doctor now, right? This lazy cunt has suddenly become a doctor. Flexibility, organization, and self-monitoring. And it can appear in folks with anxiety, autism, and OCD, all of which I have, of course, this person. Obviously,
but he's a retard.
Yeah, he's a mongoloid. And so many folks who experience executive dysfunction internalize this idea of laziness, assuming that someone doesn't want to do something, instead of acknowledging that some folks cannot do the same amount of stuff that you do in the way you do it. And that's ableist. It's not that literally, they cannot do it. They could get up off the couch and go and do whatever, because physically it's within the realm of doing it. They're just fucking, I don't use the L word. You know
what I really love about these people? They never ever think for the role of the employer. They always think from the perspective of the working class. Because if you're a working class and your employer doesn't understand that you have a problem, your employer is an asshole. But if they would try to start their own business, and they would notice that some of their employers are working less because they don't want to work or are lazy or whatever, they wouldn't like that shit. Because it's like, oh shit, my productive is going down.
Yeah, well, I don't even think this is necessarily an issue of class or anything like that. I think this is an issue of being a lazy cunt and everyone else.
No, you know what I think? I think this guy deserved the Autism Award 2016.
I totally agree. I mean, this guy's services to autism awareness are just shocking. I mean, like, he's a hero. And listen to this, right? This line of thinking that I had internalized, as in being a lazy cunt, was oppressive. Not only to me, but to other disabled people. Now he's representing people with his laziness.
That's what they do, don't you know? And if the disabled person doesn't agree that you should be defended by this guy, then he's the wrong kind of disabled person.
Yeah, no, he's other disabled people. He's made himself a disabled person because he is lazy.
Do you know what?
Literally, the next line. Now, as a disabled adult, I found it hard to uncover many helpful sources about executive dysfunction, which is, I assume, something you made the fuck up. I mean, where did you learn about this from?
Yeah.
It seems to be only talked about within school settings. And it makes sense, considering that school is a place where planning, organization, and self-monitoring are key to normative success. God, excuses for everything. Just excuses. Constant. Never-ending excuses.
Yeah, pretty much it. But anyway, we should end it, you know?
Yes, we should, because I do have to go. But anyway, thanks for joining me, man.
Look at this one. Like just the title, I will tell you this, so you can be annoyed after you leave. Asylum seeker with 3 wives and 20 kids is about to get over £200,000 in welfare. Yay.
Right. Thanks for joining me.
Britain, so tolerant.
I wonder how he got into the country.
Mr. Hero.
Yeah, but that underground railway is doing great work.
Mr. Hero,
Yeah,
take me abroad.
They're going to build a statue to you, Mr. Hero. But anyway, thanks everyone.
Yeah.